Good morning. Guess whose alarm didn't wake him up? I swear I put it on snooze. Like, my phone has like a... Hey, do you want to set the time for 5 minutes from now to, you know, repeat? And I was like, yes. I hit that a couple of times. And it was like, you know, 10 past 9 or something, so I'm like, yeah, it'll wake me up in 5, and then I'll get up, and that'll be fine. And then I rolled over, and it was 10 to 11. I really should have just, like, gotten up then and there. Like, what I've been doing to actually, like, get up early in the mornings, and it's actually been kind of working, is just, like, initial alarm time, get up within 1 or 2 repeats, make breakfast, turn on my computer, log on to something, go back to bed if I want, like, if I'm still, like, kind of bleary at that point, and then get, like, an extra minute or 2 between alarms. But no, that didn't work today, which is, awesome. We love to see it. We good on Twitch? It looks like we're good on Twitch. Yeah. Ooh. Oh, wait, hold on. I just got some dropped frames. Either that or that happened when I was away and I didn't notice. I'm pretty sure I looked at that, like, immediately. We'll give it a sec, but I'll still talk. Yeah, so, not a great start to today, but fuck it, I'm still gonna play more Paranormasight because I really enjoy this game. Things have gone in a bit of a different direction compared to what I thought. I really thought the ticking clock was going to be dawn, because everyone's trying to kill each other to try and use the ritual of the Rite of Resurrection. So I'm kind of surprised the timeline has advanced to, and you know what, we can start the game to kind of demonstrate. How do I zoom out from here? I guess I can't on controller. That's a shame. Yeah, so like, I'm kind of surprised we've gone to the next day at this point. Like, we've had a couple of differing timelines, one of which was just a game over, but it still gave it, like, a thing, which I guess makes sense. You can kind of just mark, like, where you got, but given how, like, expansive one of, Shogo's timelines was, and presumably the rest of this happens on the timeline where he dies, because he has been killed. He has been killed in Tetsuo's story, at the very least. We haven't heard about it yet in the other characters' stories. But, and here's the reason I'm a bit confused, because, like, it kind of diffuses the situation a bit. From what's been described, it sounds like the curse bearers can't use their powers during the day. And I suppose that introduces, like, a bit more of a looming threat. Tetsuo's been threatened by, I forget his name, Fumichika Nejima. he's been threatened by him to, that the next night he's going to, like, kill a whole bunch of people. And obviously, like, introducing essentially, like, a remote, very powerful stand is kind of a threatening thing. But, and in that sense, it does make sense to introduce the ticking clock rather than have it immediately, because, you know, why would Nejima not just do it? I guess there's a question of why would Nejima not just do it anyway, but, like, clearly he's getting something out of teasing Tetsuo here. But the reason I think that's a little odd from at least, like, the story perspective is that right now there's a bit of a lull in the threat presented by the narrative. Everyone's gotten past the initial night, and now we need to figure out what we're going to do about Nejima. And that's probably going to bring a lot of people together, because a lot of the things everyone's looking at is kind of tying in together. But, I don't know, it feels a little... It feels a little contrived to me. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but, like, we introduced a threat, and we kind of demonstrated that throughout Shogo's timeline, that, like, the Curse Bearers are a threat to each other because of the incentives at play. But then, once we proceed past the introduction, we introduce that threat, and the threat only really exists for Tetsuo, and then it's removed. Like, I don't know if, like, assuming I'm correct in my interpretation of the curses not working once it's daytime. I do hope the narrative has something for me to kind of, like, keep me hooked here. Because I don't know if the mystery of trying to get to the bottom of what Nejima is going to do is enough, because I would have really liked, like, these three being like, well, shit, we've got these negative incentives against one another, but we may need to work together for this. But that kind of, like, falls flat when it's just like, oh, well, we can't use our powers right now. And I guess you could reintroduce it should we end up on a second night, where it's like, okay, we've dealt with Nejima. Curses aren't gone, though. And maybe it gets reintroduced there. I guess I'm just worried that, like, the real thing that pulled me in initially was just like, okay, yeah, this is a protracted stand battle over the course of a very short period of time, because everyone got them and everyone has an incentive to kill each other. So to remove that threat, kind of once we've established, or once we've toyed with it not very much, because, like, Shogo got a little bit of the stand battle stuff and was probably the most dense version of it, but, like, Tetsuo has definitely had that. Harue hasn't really had to deal with that, despite the fact that, like, she was shown in the Shogo story to be probably the only threat to Shogo outside of the literal curses just consuming him. And then Yako, I guess Yako, like, unbeknownst to her, narrowly avoided being attacked by a curse bearer. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little worried the story might lose me by kind of, like, dulling the stakes a bit, but only one way to find out. Tomi's help. Bringing her friend back from the dead means she'll have to pay the price. Yako makes it home safely, but still isn't sure about how to proceed with her curse. She worries about Mio as the night passes. Yako Sakazaki, 8 a.m. Oh, good morning, Yako. Yako, rise and shine. Huh? You're up. Huh? It's morning? I genuinely don't know if this is trying to play off like Yako is just, like, sleepwalking, or if they don't really have the tech to, like, show her waking up. If that makes sense. Are you okay? Can you remember your name? Duh. Yes, I'm Yako Sakazaki. Good. Seems like you're fully awake. Oh, Mio. Thanks for last night. Was everything okay? Yep, still alive. I couldn't dispel the curse echo or learn the identity of who used it, but I managed to at least get away. But in that situation, it's the best you can hope for. I'm sorry, I got you involved in something so dangerous. I meant to look for you as soon as the sun rose, but I was just so sleepy. Girl, same. I can't even remember when I fell asleep. Okay, so I think they are actually legit playing that, she's not sleepwalking, it's just, yeah, we don't quite have... great as the tech for this VN is, it's not able... It probably wouldn't do a convincing job of showing, oh, yeah, Yako is waking up without, like, custom art to do so. It's okay. It's only natural to be exhausted after what you went through. Besides, I also feel bad that you've been wrapped up in all of this. It's supposed to be my job to prevent that from happening. Oh, yeah, you said something about that last night. Just who are you exactly, Mio? Oh, well, the truth is I've been trained in things having to do with the supernatural. Huh? You mean you could learn that kind of stuff like you would with flower arranging? I had quite the eventful childhood. Huh. Sounds like it must have been tough. Yeah, it would take a long time to explain, so let's leave it at that for now. As fate would have it, I've ended up as the apprentice, or maybe more like assistant, to a notable paranormal expert. Schools have always had more paranormal disturbances because young people tend to be more susceptible to these things. I'm sent to schools that may experience something paranormal and put a stop to it before it happens. Wow, that's amazing! So it's like a part-time job you do while also being a student? Well, I do help maintain public order, but it's all part of my training, so I don't get any money. Again, Mio, you should go on strike. Demand pay. That's fucked up. Oh. You've got it rough, then. But still, that really is amazing. You were so cool when you faced off against the evil spirit. I never know if I should be happy when you compliment me like that. But anyways, that's why it's up to me to resolve any paranormal issues at the school, and why I'm going to look into the cause of all this. But for now, let's head to school. Yeah. Oh, do you have your curse stone? Now that it's daytime and its power is diminished, I should be able to hold on to it. Want to give it a try? Right, I do have it, but... Yako. Is it really so wrong? Trying to bring Michio back, I mean? I can't approve of it. The rite may seem like a dream come true, but if it involves taking the lives of other people, then... Yeah, true. I want to make sure this whole ritual ends without anyone getting hurt. That's what I believe. What I'll put before anything else. I'm sorry, but... Is it okay if I hold on to it? Yako. I promise I won't use the curse, no matter what. But maybe there's some other way. I just have this feeling that I shouldn't give up on the possibility just yet. That said, I'll help you, even if it's to stop the curses. For the Michio that still exists within me, I'll settle things so that we can move forward. Okay, if you ever feel in danger, you can give me the curse stone at any point. Right. Thank you, Mio. Okay. Okay then, let's go. One thing I don't think I've commented on the writing, or commented about the writing yet, is that, how do I put this? It feels very much like it was just translated and not localized, if that makes sense. Like, I know there's, like, I know the process is a lot more complicated than just that, and obviously, like, literal translations aren't going to read, like, as well as, like, fully localized stuff. But it feels like it's a little bit caught in between the two, where, like, in a lot of cases, like, the broad ideas kind of communicated, I think, perfectly fine. But there's a lot of, like, idiosyncrasies to the way that a lot of characters talk that they all have in common that feels like it feels like I'm reading um it feels like I'm reading something that's been transliterated rather than like gone through the entire like process of localizing something. And not that that's necessarily a bad thing, because it does lend it does lend the writing a bit of character, but it definitely does feel like, um as someone who, doesn't do any of that stuff to a professional degree or knows much about the process at all, it very much feels a lot more akin to a fan translation where they try and do the literal words as opposed to um a localization that tries to get across the same points, or um tries to shift um idiosyncrasies and that to something a lot more palatable to English, or not palatable, but a lot closer to what an English speaking person would say. There's just like certain phrasings and like sentence structures that make me think like, oh yeah, this is like a literal translation as opposed to kind of doing more than that, if that makes sense. Candy Shop Senoya, an old-fashioned candy shop located on a street corner in Honjo. It has been in It has been in Yako Sakazaki's family for 3 generations. On the weekends, you can spot Yako watching over the store, cooking monjayaki, and playing traditional tops and card games with the local children. Though traditional candy shops are known for selling cheap treats for kids, it is not uncommon to see these largely privately owned businesses become something more like general stores, selling food, drinks, utensils, and other daily necessities. Many families operate candy shops on the dirt ground floor of their home, known as a doma, with a space in the back where customers can eat monjayaki, as well as arcade games and capsule toy machines in the front. Such facilities make them attractive places for children to gather and play. However, the harsh reality is that traditional candy shops, which thrived during the period of high economic growth with many confectionery manufacturers but when many confectionery manufacturers enter the market, are experiencing a steady decline due to the rise of convenience stores and changes in children's interests and tastes. Oh, right, I got other mockingbirds. Yeah. The ostracizer. Jesus. That's a fucking rad design, though. Pelican. Oh. Love their puns. Yeah, I think especially that discussion about, like, the stone and, like, hey, you can't use the stone. It's like, no, I get the feeling that, like, I could still use it. Okay, but, I have to do this before anything else. Like, that is my priority, and not just, like, yeah, I'm determined to do this kind of thing. Huh? I thought it unusually noisy. There's a big group of people and police in front of the school. Did something happen? If the police are here, then something must have. I'll go ask. Thanks. Why wouldn't you go with her? This isn't good. Huh? What happened? Don't panic, okay? The first teacher who came to work this morning found something. Okay. Mr. Janochi was found dead in the middle of the school grounds. Oh. Did he have his limbs cut off by any chance? What? They're closing the school for today. But that's not all. I didn't know this either since I didn't watch the morning news, but rumors are spreading that a number of bodies were found nearby. What? There's no way. Why? Could it be because of the curse? We don't know enough to say. From what I heard, Mr. Janochi's body was in the middle of the grounds, but his body was covered in bruises like he'd fallen from somewhere high. Weird. Taking into account his unnatural death and the timing, it's very likely it was something to do with the curse. Wasn't that the same way that, Michio? Yeah. Wasn't it the same way Michio died? Seeming to have fallen from a high place? You're saying someone used their curse on him last night? Seems like it, doesn't it? Actually, wait a second. Is Janochi... The Janochi is the teacher, right? It was Ashimiya. It was definitely Ashimiya, I think. Which means that Ashimiya killed Michio? Why? Seems like it, doesn't it? But that's so scary. Yeesh. So the curses really do kill people. And someone used it. Shh! Keep your voice down, okay? What would happen if another curse bearer heard you? Sorry. Persons of interest. Kohei... he was seen alone with Hitomi Okuda in a classroom late at night by Yako Mio. Wait, actually, wait a minute. Because when... Hold on, let me see if I remember this correctly. Yako left the school with Mio still inside, and when you're outside, you can tell Ashimiya that Mio is inside. And when you do that, you end up going back into the school, and Mio had her like, one side of her limbs removed. The limbs on one side of her body, like, cut off. But Jonochi was actually killed in a different manner. So if I presume that Ashimiya was, Ashimiya went into that building, I would presume, you know, with Jonochi dead, that he would have been killed by that way. But he was killed in a manner similar to Michio, as opposed to the way we found Mio. And we do know a curse was being used in the building at the time that was not Ashimiya's. Because we essentially got a glimpse of Ashimiya's. Well, assuming that's Ashimiya anyway. We could be, it'd be weird for the game to go, hey, you told Ashimiya that Mio's in the building, and then Mio died, and that Ashimiya wasn't the cause of that. His body was discovered on the school grounds at dawn. Yeah. I wish we had a little more information, but they've locked up the front gate. Maybe we could sneak in through the back entrance. That person over there. Isn't that Hitomi Okuda? Right. That's unusual. Oh, but she was at the school last night, too. She must know something about Mr. Janochi. Let's see what she has to say. Oh, Mio, wait for me. Huh. So you're telling me the two of you weren't the ones at the school last night? No sense hiding it, then. Plus, I owe you one, Mio. I'll tell you everything I know. Thank you. She owes you? Yeah. Right after I transferred here, there was a bit of trouble. She gave me one of those, what was it? Oh, exorcisms. Huh. So that's what it was. See, it's stuff like that, where it's like, we're talking about something, and rather than, like, going, like, stating about, like, oh, an exorcism or something like that, it sounds like, the English implication is that she knew it was something, but the way it played out of being immediately explained, that sentiment doesn't make sense, if that makes sense. Exorcism first. Hey, Tommy, were you possessed by some kind of evil spirit? I don't understand it too well myself. What I can say for sure is, thanks to Mio, the weird symptoms that were happening to me all went away. Yep, some people are born with a natural sensitivity to the paranormal. They tend to end up isolated as they struggle to relate to the people around them. They also tend to draw spirits to them naturally. This can cause strange symptoms they don't understand, like headaches, muscle stiffness, and hallucinations. Even memory problems. I'm sure it must have been very hard. So that's how it works, huh? Do people also have their personality taken over when possessed too? It's possible with spirits who have a very close relationship to their target, like siblings or a parent and child. But you almost never hear about people being taken over completely. It's when the two parties aren't in sync that those negative effects can start to appear. So the seance or whatever you see on TV, or the seances or whatever you see on TV are all bogus? Not quite. There are mediums and diviners who can align their minds with the spirits they call. Though there are people on TV who are just putting on a performance. Huh. There are people who in life had extremely powerful spirit sense or a deep connection with the person. But even they shouldn't be able to completely take over the person they possess. And even if they could, it'd only be enough to pressure them to choose certain behaviors that wouldn't be unusual for them to do on their own to begin with. But if that's the case, wouldn't you know if you were choosing that behavior or your own will or not? On your own will or not? Hence why there are lots of cases where people don't even realize they're possessed. Though the spirit may influence the behavior and memories of the host, the deeper their connection in life, the easier it is for that to occur. I see. Getting possessed by a spirit is pretty complicated, huh? I wonder if that's what we're doing. Because in Shogo's route, I'm pretty sure there was, like, an explicit, like, we had to fight him to do something, and he was talking back to us. But then again, the story is already being the story that's happening here is already being presented as a work of fiction, or, you know, something akin to that, and that we are breaking essentially the fourth wall to have an effect on the diegetic, or like on the in-story universe. So unless, you know, unless the person, the storyteller, is, allowing us to possess someone and we are dead. Much to consider. See, getting possessed by a spirit is pretty complicated, huh? Must have been tough for you being possessed for so long here, Tommy. Whatever might happen to me doesn't make any difference. Me being able to see spirits and stuff has nothing to do with how things ended up like this. Yeah, it's not like being able to see them is your fault either. The same goes for me. Maybe it's just something we have to live with. I think you have a knack for it yourself, Yako. I bet you could see them too with a little training. I think I may pass. I don't much care for that. Thank you. So that's why you do the job you do, huh, Mio? I thought she was a weirdo when she showed up, all of a sudden saying she was going to exorcise me. If you hadn't said anything, I probably would have knocked your lights out. You tried to perform an exorcism on her without telling her anything? See, my experience, most people don't understand no matter how much I explain. They only accept my explanation after they see the results. Huh. I guess that makes sense. Alright. Did you hear about Mr. Janochi? Heard about it. Known about it since last night. I saw that asshole bite it on the school grounds myself. What? You saw it happen? Tell us about it. What happened exactly? Don't really know myself. It's pitch black. But I can tell you. It was almost dawn. Probably around 3. He started freaking out all of a sudden. Ran out on the ground like something was chasing him, and screamed. Ah! Someone help me! Forgive me, Michio! Or something like that while he was running around. Michio? He mentioned Michio? Was there anyone else out on the grounds? It was too dark to see from where I was. But for a second, I think I saw a girl in a school uniform with her hair in braids. Oh? I didn't go out to make sure, so it could have been nothing for all I know. Then I heard him begging for his life like I was wrong and I'll do anything. Then, all of a sudden, his arms and legs snapped, even though he was just standing there. His arms and legs broke without anything being done to him? He fell over and quit moving, so I thought I'd better get out of there. Then he croaked. That's all I saw. I see. But from what you've told us, it almost sounds like Michio's ghost chased down Mr. Janochi and killed him. Hell, if I know anything about that. I'm just telling you what I heard him say. Did you tell that story to the police? Nope, and I ain't gonna. I count on them for shit. Not like they believe such an insane story anyways. Right. But there must be at least one person at the police worth trusting, right? Yeah, I guess. Well, it's this one cop who always got on my case about stuff. But he died just the other day. Yeah. Hajime. Literal Chad face, dude. Oh, he did? I'm sorry to hear that. Everyone gets involved and he ends up dead. I really am cursed. Pissing me off. You've got it all wrong. The spirit that possessed you wasn't that kind of spirit. Huh? It wasn't? Yeah, this was just an unfortunate coincidence. Though I'm sure that was hard enough for you. What the fuck is with the music? Goddamn. That's all I know about that asshole's death. Hey, Neo, I've been thinking something. The way she described it reminded me of something. The way Mr. Janochi died, it sounds a lot like how Michio died. Of course, I didn't see it myself, but the state Michio's body was in, it was like she had fallen from high up. Could they have been killed by the same curse? I don't think so. The curses of the Seven Mysteries hadn't manifested when she died. If we can trust what the spirit board said, then Michio died in an accident. Yeah. Oh. Right. About that asshole's death. That's... okay. Didn't get ticked off for some reason, but... Hitomi, last night before you witnessed Mr. Janochi collapse, can I ask what he and you were doing in the classroom? tell the cops? Oh, right. Everything that happened with Mr. Janochi. They'll suspect you if we told them we saw you with him that night. Anytime something happens with someone like me, all those shitty adults start jumping to conclusions. I understand. I won't tell them. You wouldn't have been able to kill him anyway. If you say so, then I don't mind telling you about it. So last night, that piece of shit Janochi called me over here, acting like he was going to attack me or something. What? Terrible. Whatever. I'm glad he's dead. He had it coming. Calling people worthless and a cancer on society when he doesn't know shit about them. That asshole was the one always acting like scum, if you ask me. Is that so? Could you tell us more in more detail why he called you out in the middle of the night? It's hard to explain where to start. Okay. I don't know why the game is structured like this. Because, like, it's a little bit Ace Attorney in the way that, like, it'll rebuff you and not mark it off as completed, because obviously there is still something to do there. But it does it so often within the one conversation and then opens up new dialogue options that it's just like... Why? Like, is there a reason to actually make it another option in the dialogue tree as opposed to just continuing it with the same topic? Like, is there any reason to not just hit the classroom last night and hear about Janochi's misdeeds? It's a fine line to walk with this kind of stuff, but, like, we've got multiple parts of the conversation we can't navigate through further, and one of the new options, but I'm sitting here like... So, like, why don't you just continue it from where it was going? It's a bit weird. What did you mean by Mr. Janochi acting like scum? Is he doing something bad? You know Michio Shiraishi, right? The girl who killed herself? Huh? Michio? I don't know everything, but that creep of a teacher had some dirt on her. He was using it to blackmail her. Called her up after school and make her do whatever he wanted. What? What do you mean when you say whatever he wanted? I'll leave it to your imagination. Nothing that a couple of model students like you would ever get involved in. I'm sorry? Okay. Say, Janochi. No, wait. That's... How? What do you mean by dirt? I don't know anything about this. How could I not have known about this? Yako, I know how you feel, but try to calm down. Your gut's acting like you were a friend. Janochi really did a number on both Michio's body and soul. Probably felt she couldn't tell anyone, like she had to suffer alone. What terrible. Tell me, how do you know about this? I just happened to walk in on it. I know the spots around the school people go to when they stay out of sight. He ran off in a panic when I yelled at him, asking what he was doing. Walked in on it. I couldn't just leave her alone, looking like she was about to cry, so I stuck around for a bit. She told me everything that happened in whispers. I just got an achievement for playing for 10 hours. Nice. She probably figured I wasn't the type to spread that stuff around. She never asked for my help. She told me that she was fine to keep it a secret. Michio, why? She probably thought she just had to grit her teeth till it was through. She was naive. I tried to tell her that if you give guys like that an inch, they'll take a mile. She kept saying about how it was her punishment. She was soft. No. Of course, course, Janochi didn't change. Kept on doing what he was doing. I don't understand either of them. That's as much as I was involved. And then she killed herself. Nothing I can do about it now. You told me, if you knew about it, then why didn't you... You trying to say it's my fault? She told me not to say anything. She told me she was fine. So what the hell more responsibility do I have other than what I already did? Yako, there's no point blaming Hitomi. Michio... Why? Why? Like, I kind of get it from, like, establishing the topics and that. I'm just really confused as to why... Like, why wouldn't we naturally go through the topics rather than, like, leaving certain topics open to go back to later on? It feels messy, in my opinion. Did you hear what this dirt was? Nope. Never heard what it was. But from the sound of it, he'd been blackmailing her since about a year ago. For that long? The dick probably caught her doing something she shouldn't have been doing. Or shouldn't have been. She looked well behaved, but there's more to a person than meets the eye, you know? Must be some reason. Dunno. Got nothing to do with me. So, last night... That's... Oh, right. Remember that nosy cop I mentioned who was always on my case? He died at the former Yasuda Gardens a couple of days ago. Yoshimi was his name. He was part of the juvenile division. He didn't look like a cop at all. Real rough guy, but good at looking out for folks. So he was the only one I could talk to. So there was someone like that with the police. Yeah, see, it's phrasings like that that are just like... yeah, this is like literal translation. It's just like a really odd sentiment in English. Too bad he ended up dying. Oh, another thing. One time he suddenly introduced his fiancée to me. It was hilarious seeing a big guy like that act like a shy little kid all of a sudden. She told me that she was like me when she was my age and that she was on my side. It must have been a terrible loss for her too. Yeah, I do feel a little bad for her when I think about it. Think about how sad she must be. And I saw him at the gardens the night he died. Oh no. Yeah? Whenever I would get worked up over something, Yoshimi always took me straight to that park. Then he'd listen to whatever I was pissed off about. That day he called me over there like usual, but something seemed off about him, like he was worried about something. Worried about something? Yeah. He asked me for a favor too. It was pretty unusual. A favor? What kind of favor? He handed me a weird talisman and asked me to hold on to it for him. A talisman? Yeah, just a normal good luck charm. Figured if that's it, then sure, I'll take it. I have it with me now. But that wasn't all. Then he told me that he wanted to look for a talisman Michio Shiraishi had that looked like this one. Huh? Michio? What does she have to do with this? Shimi had been meeting up and talking with her. While they were together, he noticed that she had, like a special talisman or something. But apparently, Michio always avoided the subject. Talisman that Michio had. He knew that I knew her, so that's why he asked me. He said, could there have been something that Michio couldn't tell even the police about? I know things at home were a little complicated. From what I heard, Michio was keeping her mouth shut about what Jonochi was doing to her. Hard to talk with the cops when someone's got dirt on you. And I didn't squeal on anything about Michio either. Michio? What is it that had such a strong grip on you? So, basically, Yoshimi didn't just have his eyes on Michio, but her talisman too. But after she died, he didn't know where it ended up. So since I knew her from school, he wanted me to look into it for him. Is there something special about the two talismans? I know why he gave it to you. Hell if I know. When I looked inside, there's just a weird kind of grimy scrap of wood. So you've seen inside it? From the way he was acting, it seemed important to him somehow. But to be honest, what he was asking is such a pain in the ass. I figured he had to be serious about it. Oh, and since he died right after that. Yeah. He even said to me, if anything happens to me, take those 2 talismans. Give them to a guy named Nakagoshi at the police department. Nakagoshi. Do we know that name? We don't. Knowing what I know now, he probably felt that something was going to happen to him. Nakagoshi? Huh? Do you know him, Mio? No, just heard the name, I think. So there really is a Nakagoshi. That's a relief, at least. Anyway, it didn't feel right just ignoring a dead guy's last request. Hitomi. Yeah? That talisman. Would you mind if I had a look at it? Sorry, but I don't trust you all that much yet. It's important to me. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fair. So, last night you were looking for the talisman Michio had? Yeah. And I figured that piece of garbage teacher would know the most about Michio. I asked him yesterday afternoon if he knew anything about a talisman. He gave me some cryptic response like, I can't talk about it now, come to the school tonight. He even gave me the code to the lock on the back entrance. There we go. Seemed pretty willing to give it out, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's used it for secret meetings before. Ugh, I can only imagine. We climbed over the front gate to get in. So yeah, we met up in the classroom in the middle of the night, but nothing he said made any sense. Like that I was really Michio and stuff like that. He went on and on about how it was my fault and that if only I hadn't been around or something. He grabbed a hold of me, breathing heavily. Ugh. Were you okay? Yeah. That's right, when you two showed up. I was able to get away while Junochi was freaking out. Gosh. Good thing you got away. So it's really all thanks to you two that I got away. But I didn't get any info about the talisman, so the whole thing was sort of a bust. Afterward, I was wondering what you two were up to, so I hid nearby. And I saw you and old man Ashimiya talking, and then Mio showed up. Oh, you did? That's also why I saw Junochi come back outside and bite it. I see. So you were only here to look for Michio's talisman. I was dumb to fall for that creep Junochi's trap so easy. Could have gone a lot worse, but I lucked out. What you described does sound like Michio killed Mr. Junochi. She did have a reason to hate him after all. Oh, wait. You mean that really was a ghost? Like, for real? So far the curses have been... or as far as we can tell, the curses have been related to the people of the 7 mysteries, and those mysteries have, like, a very long-standing history as a story. So, for example, if Michio did actually die in an accident, but, like, of negligence, similar to the way that the... Which one of these? One of these is about a woman who had, like, something glued to her face, and no one could tell that she was actually dying. What's the person that was... Was it the Clappers? No. Oh, Fool's Procession. Right. What? Wait a minute. Wait. Hold on. This is... The Fool's Procession is the curse that... But... Wait, did Yako... I guess, because we haven't seen Yako use the curse's power before, I'm not really sure I have a frame of reference for this, but... Kills by fatal fall. So, if someone is standing on the ground, and they hear this music for 30 seconds, do they get the injuries of a fall? Like, you know, arms twisted and broken? Because that was the way it was described, but yeah, that's... Like... That is Yako's... That would be Yako's curse echo. Because I was gonna talk about how, like, maybe Michio is actually the ghost of the Fool's Echo, or the Fool's Procession. Or, yeah, is the spirit associated with the curse of the renewed curse of, the Fool's Procession, but... Sorry, one sec. Oh, bots. EP. Twitter just started lighting up. So yeah, I think that's completely bunk, but now I realize, like, hold on a second. If we're saying it looked like he fell, that would probably line up with Yako's curse, but... As far as the player is aware, Yako didn't do that. And that would have been... 3 AM would have been after Yako left. No way. You mean that really was a ghost? Like, for real? Those who die bearing strong resentment or regret can occasionally become spirits, either bound to a place or roaming freely. However, it'd usually be impossible for them to kill the living. Most don't have that kind of power. But it's possible they could possess someone close to them to act on those lingering regrets. Huh. I wonder if that's what happened. Alright, then supposing what the spirit board said is true and Michio's death was an accident, then she must have had some regrets. She really hadn't given up on living, that is. I don't think she was the kind of girl who would just give up no matter what the situation. I don't really know, but... She didn't seem like she had something tormenting her so much that she'd kill herself. That's all I know. Happy. I still gotta look for the talisman. Sure. Thank you, Hitomi. Oh, if you two find out anything about Michio's talisman, be sure to let you know. Thanks. Oh, can we get your contact info? Where can we normally find you? Right. I'm not home most of the time. Usually I'm at a friend's place. Here's the phone number. Yippee. Thanks. We'll call her if we need to talk with you. And, what is it? You're easier to talk to than I imagined. I was kind of scared at first, but not anymore. Shut up. You were the one avoiding me. catch you later. Don't die out there, okay? Thanks. We'll be careful. Alright then. We got a lot of new information. Sounds like Mr. Genochi was killed by a curse, just as we thought. Which means there was a curse bearer at the school. Multiple, in fact. Multiple? You think so? Yes. The curse echo we experienced in the school and the one that killed Mr. Genochi seem to be different. People in the school at the time other than us were Mr. Genochi, Hitomi, and old man Ashimiya, who you ran into. I was thinking it would be among them, but there was one more person. Hitomi saw a girl in a school uniform with braids. What Hitomi was saying, it doesn't seem like she's one. Oh. That's a weird way of phrasing that. What Hitomi was saying, it doesn't seem like she's one. Mr. Genochi is pretty suspicious, though. If he were a curse bearer, it would certainly explain why he was killed. Right. That's why I say there are multiple. Oh, right. The person who killed Mr. Genochi would have had to be one too. Which means it must be either the mysterious girl or old man Ashimiya. Yeah. We should certainly be careful of them. That said, mysterious girl and the fact that Mr. Genochi thought it was Michio that was attacking him has me wondering. Of course, I doubt Michio herself was actually there, but... Oh, I just remembered. I also saw Mr. Araishi outside the main gate last night. You did? It's likely he's involved with the curses, given that he's the one doing research on the Rite of Resurrection. Did we... Tetsuo got his talisman, though, right? No. What the fuck? Araishi, there he is. Yeah, the ever-burning lantern, right. He was the one that did the darkness shit. I can't remember how that looked for Shogo, so I can't say off the top of my head whether or not, I can't say whether or not he was actively using his Echo then. But we know what his Curse Echo was, and even if we assume that the Echo hadn't been taken from him by the time Yako encountered him, that wouldn't line up. He couldn't be the one that actually did it. He couldn't have been the one that slashed Mia's limbs. Or severed Mia's limbs. He couldn't have been the one that caused the broken arms. But he was there. So I have to be careful of old man Ashimiya and Mr. Araishi. I want to believe that not all curse bearers will be hostile, but... As for what to do now... I'd like to find who is responsible for the Feast of Shadows that set this off and how they did it. I don't think we'll be able to end this without stopping it at its source. Huh. Well, that makes sense. In which case, next we should do... what, exactly? We'll need to talk with Mr. Araishi. He definitely knows something. He should be safer during the day, so I think we should try to look for him. Got it. I'll help in any way I can. But the school is closed. I wonder where he could be. Let's try heading someplace someone may know where he is. Where to go then? Good question. We got a bridge. Let's go to the bridge. And so, Mio Kurosuzu and Yako Sakazaki decided on their next location to investigate. Okay. Probably similar to that bit with Harue, where we It's kind of odd that it ended where it did, but I suppose, like... What? Yeah, actually, hold on. Why didn't it, like, just go, and we're gonna stop right here? Before we selected a location, like, did the bridge have something to do with that? That's a weird stopping point out of context. Huh. Alright. Sorting things out. Hajime Yoshimi's death, Nejima's threat of mass murder. The problems just pile up, putting the detective's goal of collecting all the curse stones in jeopardy. Tsutsumi leaves Erio to handle the investigation while he catches a quick break. Yeah, my man needs his fucking rest. Kinshibori Park. Back at it again at Kinshibori Park. Drowns. Sorry for the wait, boss, but I managed to gather some information. Okay. I haven't done this guy's voice in a while, and that's not one that comes natural to me. Give me a sec. Took you long enough. Oh, I can't look around. Okay. Forensics has finished their investigation and the body's been carried away. That said, we're still closing the park to the public, at least for the time being. This place really was really giving me the creeps last night, but it looks pretty normal now with the sun out. Well, we've got ourselves quite the mess. Strange deaths popping up all over the place that may or may not have something to do with the curses. We also need to keep looking into Yoshimi and Nejima. But now, we'd better start following up on the few leads we've got. Guess I'd better see what Ario's found out. He's been up all night gathering information. Must be nice to be young and have that kind of energy. I'm glad to have him on my side. It gave me a chance to rest up. Is that something that was unticked when I did that? No. Okay. Things at the station were pretty hectic, but I managed to get some info. Let me fill you in. Thanks. The floor's yours. A total of 3 mysterious deaths were confirmed in the area, including the one in this park. So let's start with that one. The young man we found here. He's been identified as Shogo Okie, 25 years old, regular old office worker who worked around here. He died of asphyxiation due to the water in his lungs. He drowned. He drowned? In the middle of the park? That's not possible. It's gotta be a curse we're dealing with here. About that, boss. Isn't this park associated with one of those 7 mysteries too? Whispering Canal. That's right, the Whispering Canal. It does seem like there'd be a link between a canal and death by drowning, don't you think? Sharp thinking, Ario. I'm starting to get the hang of this. So, let's assume they're related. What's next? Before that, the body of a woman was found behind a residential complex in Kamizawa. The victim has been identified as Tawako Hayashi, 29 years old. She was an office worker who lived on her own in the area. As for the cause of death, well, yes. The entirety of her body was crushed by some kind of strong external force. No murder weapon was discovered in the area, but considering the way she was found, we're looking for something large, flat, and heavy that could have crushed her in one fell swoop. Well, we know who did that. Hang on, are you saying she was stepped on? Meaning... foot washing mansion. Exactly. Crushing is the foot washing mansion's modus operandi. The place the body was discovered is also known to be related to the Seven Mysteries. And is this Namigaki's doing? Shit, I knew he'd used it. Judging by the amount of soul dregs, the victim was just a regular person, not a curse bearer. Guess we should report this to Paranormal Affairs. Got it. As for the third victim, he was identified as Kohei Jonochi, 32, and a teacher at Kamagata High. He was found in the school's courtyard. The cause of death appears to be external trauma from a fall or heavy blow. The impact crushed his arms and legs. Since he was found in the middle of the courtyard, he couldn't have fallen from the gymnasium or the main building. Teacher dying at school. Not just any school. Kamagata houses were one of the Seven Mysteries. I don't remember which one. Seven Mysteries. Oh, it's not the Whispering Canal. Oh, the Fool's Procession. Yeah. Which would lead you to think it's, Yako. Right. It's where the Fool's Procession is supposed to be. It's too big of a coincidence. We can't rule out the possibility that this death was also the work of a curse. I see. Either way, yeah. See, this is where it feels like they just didn't do a good job of localization as opposed to translation. Either way, it seems all three victims can be tied to the Seven Mysteries. There's probably a curse bearer at the center of it all, pulling the strings. But you've got a point. All these strange deaths do point in one direction. That's right. Hajime's case wasn't all that different either. He also died of mysterious causes in a place connected to the Seven Mysteries. Problem is, the timing doesn't match up. He died before the curses were activated. Could he have been hit by a different curse? One that didn't have anything to do with the Seven Mysteries? That's a thought, but... if that were the case, we'd be dealing with a powerful practitioner. One who could pull off a curse like that without using a curse stone. Aren't many people in this day and age who could do something like that. Oh, really? I see. I don't know too much about that stuff. I'd be more surprised if you did. Well, looking at these deaths, it seems like many of the curse bearers acted last night. But we can't rule out that there were more killings from which the bodies haven't been found. Yikes! I hadn't thought of that. But there is one silver lining. Judging by my own curse stone, it seems that the curses can't be activated while the sun's out. Oh, that's great news. So basically, we're safe during the daytime. Exactly. It's also likely why Nejima gave us till dusk. Ah, must have known the curse stones couldn't be used during the day. Either way, we got till nightfall to settle this. It's time we flushed out the other curse bearers. Aye, boss, let's do this. At the moment, we only know the identity of 4 curse bearers, you included. Yutaro Namigaki in the foot-washing mansion, and Hideki Araishi had the ever-burning lantern. We've got both of their curse stones. And then there's Nejima, who claims he has the one-sided reed. He has the one-sided reed. But he... What? Oh, fuck. Wait a minute. I feel like I completely missed that. Mio's limbs were severed in a like way to the one-sided reed. But Nejima has that curse? So what the fuck does Ashimiya have? Wait, what? No, wait. Better question. Why? Oh, hold on. Unless Ashimiya and fucking Nejima are the same person. Which I think was, like, hinted at some point? Time 6 months ago. 2 decades ago. Yeah, that about sums it up. Oh. Notes on known curse bearers. Awesome. Awesome. So we don't know what happened to the Whispering Canal. We don't know what happened to Beckoning Light. We don't know about, or I guess we also know about the Haunting Clappers, because Harue has that. But they don't know that. Yeah. Oh, again, also interesting, the Whispering Canal is now AWOL. Nejima has the one-sided read. We better figure out who the remaining 5 are, quick. How should we go about looking for them? There's no point in searching blindly without a lead. Let's focus on other things for now. Tracking down Nejima may lead us to the other curse bearers too. Either way, he should be our top priority. He could do some real damage if we don't get him. I also want to look a little more into Yoshimi. Got a feeling there's some connection here. Aye, boss. Sounds like we've got our work cut out for us. We sure do. I asked around Sumida's community safety bureau, where Yoshimi was stationed. It seems like he was investigating the apparent suicide of a girl named Michio Shiraishi. Oh yeah, I've heard about that. He was trying to determine whether it really was a suicide, looking into the height of the buildings, the force of the impact, her wounds, and all that. He must have suspected some kind of foul play, because he ordered a full investigation. But it had already been deemed a suicide, and his superiors told him not to go stirring things up. What was the evidence? Well, according to the report I found on his desk last night, the body was found at the foot of a building a ways away from the road. There was no evidence of vehicular collision, so it was ruled a suicide. But he thought there was more to it. Yes, a truck or other flat-faced vehicle traveling at high speeds could have inflicted similar damage. In other words, sometimes a traffic accident can look an awful lot like a fall. So there is a chance that it wasn't a suicide. What a terrible way to go. There were no brake marks on the road, meaning it would have been a hit and run. The vehicle would have hit her without slowing down at all. This is turning into quite the grisly case. But the vehicle couldn't have come out from a collision like that unscathed. Exactly. So I asked the Traffic Bureau to keep an eye out for any vehicles with frontal damage. But I haven't heard back from them yet. I don't think they're looking very hard. So we've got no proof. That said, if it was a traffic accident rather than a suicide, it's possible that someone silenced Yoshimi because he was on the verge of discovering the truth. That's true. You think the driver is the one who did him in? Not quite. Yoshimi had already talked to forensics in the Traffic Bureau, right? Hey Sammy, how's it going? His death wouldn't have covered things up. Right on that. Even if the suicide was a cover-up for a hit and run, it doesn't seem like enough reason to kill a cop. Oh, that's right. Unrelated, but I got something else too. I managed to get a hold of Michio Shiraishi's address. Yoshimi went there a bunch over the course of his investigation. Might be a good idea for us to drop by too. Doing alright, hope the game's treating you well. Well, I haven't been jump scared again, so I'm happy about that. Yeah, look, I will say, like, this is a good time to pause and take a moment, though, because I feel like the game hinted at something in a way that was, like, actually just telling me the mystery. Because at some point, I feel like we talked about the idea that Nejima, after being released, would have, been a completely different person, given a different name, all that kind of stuff. And that we immediately established that Mr. Araishi was kind of a no. Well, yeah, like there was a strong implication that the kind of stuff that Nejima would be doing would be. I need to go back and look at the exact phrasing, but it's kind of like low. Well, he'd be doing janitorial stuff or something, just like giving him a job to actually integrate him back with society in a different name. And I remember one of the first thoughts was, well, that would line up with Ashimiya, wouldn't it? And now we've got a situation where Nejima is telling us that he has the one-sided read, and then telling Ashimiya about Mio in the school building led to her being killed by the one-sided read, or what I presume is the one-sided read. And I feel like the game was very heavy-handed in setting that up. So if that is actually the case, I'm gonna kind of be disappointed, because I think the game spoiled itself a little bit. I'd have to look back and see what gave me such a strong impression that that was the case, but, like, it was one of the... I very much felt like the game walked me into that position, and I went, oh yeah, that probably lines up. It, like, if someone was Nejima, it's probably Ashimiya. But if that is literally the mystery, then I'm gonna be kind of disappointed in it. Good thinking. Hopefully that'll give us some more leads. Alright, let's move on to the next topic. Yeah, it can be disappointing when it's too predictable, unless it's like yes, but not how you think. Yeah, exactly. Remember the girl Yoshimi met with the day he died? One Hitomi Okuda? Community safety didn't have any contact information for her on hand. Not even an address? Well, I had her parents' information, but when I called, they said they hadn't heard from her in a month. Lots of family issues, from the sound of it. They even said they didn't want anything to do with her anymore. That said, she still goes to school once in a while, so we might be able to find her there. Not sure we really have the time for a stakeout right now. She could be a key witness. Can't we have community safety track her down for us? We can ask, but it might be tricky to get it done today. For starters, Kamigata High School is closed today. Ah, because of the teacher that died. That's right. Alright, but it's not something we can do today. We may have to forget about it. Let's move on then. Got some information about Yoshimi's fiancée from community safety. Her name is Mayu Trizawa, 27 years old. She works as a beautician in the area. Look, I even managed to get a picture of her. She sure is a beauty. But... oh boy, here it comes. But what? Community safety hasn't been able to contact her since Yoshimi died. Not by phone or at her house. In other words, no response. Dead silence. There it is. Can't things just be easy for once? Huh. Damn. Man. Mayo is a beautician and the fiancée of Hajime Yoshimi, a police officer with the Sumida Police Department. Mayu's current whereabouts remain unknown. It's definitely starting to look suspect. Crime of passion, perhaps? It is fairly common for people to be killed by a lover or a spouse, but Yoshimi was well liked and they'd been together for over 10 years. You never know. Things could be different behind closed doors. I guess so. We'll have to consider the opposite scenario, too. It could be that the same person who is out for Yoshimi is after his fiancée as well. She could be in danger. You're right. Either way, she's important to the case. HQ already has people looking for her. We'll know as soon as she's found. Cool. HQ has mobilized a search unit for Nejima, but so far we haven't received any word. Okay, I thought this was going to come up. I call bullshit. You're telling me that one of the last decade's most notorious killers was like you have to sell me really hard on this person being unable to be found, because like surely someone has a record somewhere of this is that person, this is their new name, this is what they do, and that people would have the police department or someone would have an eye on him. There's no fucking way that's not the case. But so far, we haven't received any word. Now, obviously, like, if he's gotten the curse, probably killed a bunch of people around him. Like, he could presumably kill people around him to silence them. So, like, you know, people who are watching, he knows who are watching him, for example. But, yeah, I don't know if I buy this. Guessing he wasn't at home or at work. About that. Apparently he vacated his last known address a week ago. Are you serious? So we have no idea where he lives? It gets worse. I checked in with the factory he was working at. They told me he was only there for a month before he quit. Hold on a second. You're telling me nobody caught that? Well, I had the same thought, so I spoke to his probation officer. Turns out he'd been doing house visits and interviews, but never bothered checking on his workplace. Oh, you incompetent sacks of shit. He also said he'd lost track of Nejima when he moved to a new place. Jeez. That's just sloppy. I've heard that they're giving parole to just about anyone these days because they're running out of room in the prisons. Which also means there aren't enough probation officers to go around. Dude's probably overworked. So Nejima got to fuck about unsupervised. God damn it. That asshole is annoyingly good at faking remorse. Or insanity. Whatever the situation calls for. Back when I arrested him all those years ago, just talking to him left a bad taste in my mouth. He's probably hiding under a false name, which will make it hard to track him down. What do we know about Ashimiya again? Janitor at Komagata High School. His predecessor was nearing retirement, so he began working as his replacement about 6 months ago. So they know they thought he was working at a factory, but he wasn't working there. He hasn't been working there since. And the timeline's... Actually, the timeline's a little fucky on that. Do we have... Piece of shadows. 2 decades ago, high-scale... Lack of circumstantial evidence, testified, readily divulged the details of the murder, sentenced to life in prison, sentence was imposed with no appeal from the defendant. I feel like at some point we established when Nejima would have been given parole. I don't know how that lines up with Ashimiya, though. Fuck. Alright, I'm gonna let my brain kind of simmer on that, and we're gonna take a break real quick here. Yeah, because I need to think through the logistics of this. Like, I did say, like, there's no fucking way people weren't looking after him, but, like, I do like the idea that actually it's because this dude is overworked and the police are garbage at their job. It's like, yeah, okay, no. Like, that's convenient to make this a bit harder to manage, but I don't dislike that, to put it. Oh my god, words today. Yeah, this is what happens when I sleep through my alarm. I can't put my fucking words together because apparently I only woke up like 30 minutes ago. Well, in like being awake terms. But yeah, we'll be right back. I'm back. So yeah, I think there's a chance that Ashimiya is Nejima. I don't think it's I don't think I can completely rule it out just based on what I do know from the notes and that. I don't know if it's safe to actually Google it. But what I want to confirm is when Nejima... Thank you, Sammy. Is when Nejima was released. Or was released on parole in comparison to this point in time. Like, how long ago was it? Because we know from the conversation we just had that he's at least been on parole for a month. Because he was at that job for a month and then quit. Actually... Does not tell me what I want to know. This is, way too many things marked with spoilers, so, yeah, probably not going to be able to get an answer to that. Like, I guess it's possible, right? Like, Ashimiya, goddamn, I cannot fucking say his name. Ashimiya, we know, has been working there working as a janitor for at least 6 months, based on his profile. So, like, is it possible that he's been out on parole for a year? I feel like it was I feel like Nejima's, parole was specifically recent. But given that, you know, this a whole month has passed, it can't have been that much. Because I feel like in the last stream, there was a moment where Tetsuo found out that something about Nejima's parole, and it was very recent. Fuck, can't really remember. Anyway. Let's continue the conversation. Oh, sorry, one sec. There we go. But yeah, like I guess another thing, just on the police. Or actually, let me hear the rest of this first. He's probably hiding under a false name, which will make it hard to track him down. That'd explain why he so brazenly made contact. That asshole. He's mocking us. Well, for now, the paperwork to circulate his name and mugshot is being filed. That's gonna take way too long. We only have until dusk. Yeah, oh, actually, yeah. We should finish off the entire thing regarding Nejima first. Speaking of Nejima, yeah. Did you manage to reach your daughter? It'd be best to put her into protective custody as soon as possible. Not yet. I can't reach her. They called, but she's not picking up. Wasn't home when they went to the house either. That's not good. Does that mean she never came home? And why weren't you the one trying to reach her? Shut up. I don't have her contact info, alright? Damn, she really doesn't trust you, huh? Either way, I told her mother that it was an emergency and that we'd send an officer to find her and get her to safety. She was real reluctant, but I got her to agree. I guess that explains why you got divorced. What? What the fuck does that mean? Oh, God. See, this is the problem with, like, not doing just literal translations and not doing the localization on top of that, is that I don't know what the fuck... Like, here, Tsutsumi is talking about trying to convince, his ex-wife that we need to find our daughter because someone could be out to get her. And that her response was the fact that she was reluctant. And then Aereo says, I guess that explains why you got divorced. Fucking what? No, it doesn't. What does that mean? Like, you got divorced because your wife doesn't trust you enough to do something like that? Like, it's just a disconnected, like, a completely disconnected thought that, like, I kind of understand what you're getting at, but, like, the way it's... Like, if you were saying that sentiment in English, something definitely feels like it got lost in translation there. Yeah, like, I was talking before, Sammy, about how this game very much feels like it had translation but not localization, where a lot of the idiosyncrasies of the Japanese language are literally translated into English, so that characters in English are saying things that to English speakers don't really make sense. Like, there's a lot of, like, and this is a perfect example. I guess that explains why you got divorced, is, like, that's probably not the sentiment actually being expressed, but if you literally translated the words, I guess that's probably it. And, again, that's why just a translation often doesn't work, because at the end of the day, you're trying to make it make sense in a different language, and if that means rephrasing things slightly so that the sentiment makes sense to the... And this doesn't just go for putting it into English either. This goes for putting it into Spanish, putting it into French, putting it into Japanese. Like, this is a thing you need to be cognizant of. But yeah, here it really just feels like it feels closer to machine translation than a good localization, is, I guess, how I'd put it. Like, it's still good, don't get me wrong. Like, I feel like it's not, like... Oh, and without actually being able to read the original Japanese, like, I can't really say whether or not it's literally accurate, but... Or, it's accurate in what it's trying to get across. But, yeah, it definitely has that quality. It feels like I'm reading a fan translation as opposed to a localization, like, a professional localization, I guess. And that's not to diminish anyone who actually worked on this, it does not feel like it was a good translation, ultimately. But if you, her former father, can't find her, how the hell did Nejima do it? Former, eh? That cuts deep. Sorry. Just kind of slipped out. Anyway, I suspect it has something to do with his curse echo. Back on topic already, huh? He said his curse could kill a lot of people in a short time. May even allow him to act from a distance. I see. The one-sided reed. What was that story about again? Something about a man stalking a woman who goes insane and chops her up? Right. One of the more gruesome of the 7 mysteries. Yep. As for Nejima's whereabouts, all we can do is throw more people at it till we find something. I'll check in with HQ frequently to see if they've got any updates. And that's about it. Oh, he had 3 arms there for a second. Shall we continue our investigation? We could go to Kamagata High School to look into Hitomi Okuda, or to Michio Shiraishi's house to find out more about her. Good music, though. Very cheesy. There's a lot we need to do, but not a lot we can do. Seem good. We're gonna run out of time if we don't do something. I'll keep moving. Sure do. Oh, don't cut out the... Oh. Oh. But we didn't get back to Hitomi's? That's interesting. Life can be tough. Throughout the night, Richter continues to gather information about the curse stones, while Harue lies awake until dawn, preoccupied by the prospect of bringing her lost child back to life. The real main character's here now. Shigima Mansion. Good morning, ma'am. How are you feeling? I'm fine. I hope we can make good progress today. How's the curse stone looking? I haven't felt anything from it since sunrise. Interesting. It's possible that its powers can only be unleashed at night, then. That aside, why are you so late this morning? There are unfortunately some things that can't be investigated while the world slumbers. But I did get some research done in what limited time I had. Very well. Let's talk. Let me look around for stickers, which we can't see. The town is beginning to wake up once more. The clamor of society can be heard from beyond the garden gates. Like any day, a cloud of pollution drifts out from the industrial area. They may be surrounded by curses and death, but it matters little. My only concern is whether I can see my child again. He's looking a bit tired. Must have been up all night investigating. By the way, there's something I wanted to talk to you about. And what's that? Our current plan is to steal a curse stone that's already absorbed soul dregs, but I'm wondering if it would suffice to not steal, but instead negotiate with the curse bearer and have them use the right on for our purposes. Oh? I mean, I suppose that would accomplish the same, but do you think it's possible? So long as we offer compensation, it may prove much easier than you'd expect. Compensation? Cash, for instance? That wouldn't be off the table for a family as rich as the Shigimas, would it? Of course. Any amount should be fine if it'd get the job done. I won't let monetary matters lead me to regrets, the way it did back with the ransom. Okay, that option on the table. Let's figure out our strategy. Do you have a curse bearer with whom we can negotiate in mind? Not yet. Surprisingly, it seems the other curse bearers haven't been that proactive about collecting soul dregs. Did you see the news this morning? No, I haven't. Overnight, 3 mysterious deaths were reported in this area. I've yet to announce the identities of the bodies found, but they've been nicknamed the Honjo serial killers. It's garnered quite some attention on the streets. Oh my. Only 3. I love that that's her concern of like, shit. That's gotta be barely any soul dregs, that's not gonna work. That's what I thought. Even if the victims were curse bearers, just 1 or 2 wouldn't be enough soul dregs. And for what those curse stones are capable of, a mere 3 victims seems a little on the low side. This little activity all throughout the night, the curse bearers must be a cautious bunch. What's holding them back? Are we not all after the power of resurrection? There may still be some undiscovered victims, but it doesn't seem like anyone had gathered enough soul dregs yet. We might have to set up some bait to spur them into action. And then we offer them the deal. This is the old mansion where I was born and raised. Oh, cool. Yeah, not much else to say about that, apparently. Pond? There. Alright. Still the same thing? Yeah. None of the curse bearers seem very proactive. I wonder if this situation could be what the mastermind who kicked it all off intended. Well, now that's an interesting theory. You think there's someone behind this all? You mentioned hearing an agonized voice telling you to kill when you first obtained a curse stone. Doesn't sound like a coincidence to me. Someone agitated the curses in this area on purpose. They were likely after the Rite of Resurrection as well. So you're thinking this person is not one of the curse bearers? Got a sharp mind, man. Though it might seem obvious from the mastermind for the mastermind to become a curse bearer and collect soul dregs if they were after the rite, this would be very risky since as a curse bearer they themselves would become a target. So it'd actually be more convenient for them if the curse bearers moved less aggressively. That's right. Despite that, they've been inciting the curse bearers to commit murders. Why? Let's consider this. What if the mastermind isn't trying to collect soul dregs themselves? You mean their intention was also to steal the souls, while the other curse bearers compete with each other from the start? Soul dregs themselves. Yeah, okay, no, that tracks. Sitting back and observing from the sidelines is a safer course of action. Yeah, I mean, that's what they're doing. They're sitting low, waiting for someone else to fulfill the requirements. Which is why I figured it best for us to attempt the same strategy. So, how should we do it? Still reason to suspect the mastermind could be a curse bearer themselves. To be honest, I'm going to keep my distance from whoever it is. There's no telling what kind of power they might possess. Whether our aim is to negotiate or steal, we'll have to outpace the mastermind in making contact with the other curse bearers. How do you suppose we do so? At this point, all we can do is search. If there's a mastermind inciting the curse bearers to collect soul dregs, can we be sure there even is a Rite of Resurrection? Good question. The Rite could be nothing but a myth fabricated to spur the curse bearers into action. Seeing it might be for naught. Do you want to give... Seeing it might be for naught, do you want to give up, ma'am? Never. Sorry, I can do that better. Never. Understood. After all, we'll never know the truth unless we see it for ourselves. But we'll do it without using the curses ourselves. I have no compunction about that. I'll murder everyone. I'll murder as many people as it takes. By the way, I met a few people who seemed like potential curse bearers last night. I did some investigating into all of them. I only managed to get detailed information on 2. Quick. I suppose that's to be expected from an investigator extraordinaire. I appreciate the flattery. First is Ayame Tono, the girl we talked to before, though she isn't a curse bearer herself. She's a student attending T University of Art. She currently lives alone in an apartment near Midoricho Park. You even determined her address? You're not one to be underestimated, Mr. Investigator Extraordinaire. Called every single university with Yukio-e in the curriculum, pretend to be your parent. Went around to check on her place on the way here. Doesn't seem like she returned home last night. I'm worried she might have run into some trouble. Didn't you attempt to follow her last night? I'm embarrassed to say, but I couldn't. She shook me. Couldn't keep track of her. I thought you were an investigator extraordinaire. I feel like we're playing that a little bit too... playing that line a little bit too much. Right. The one that was working with Namagaki. Yeah, I guess she could be a curse bearer. I'd like to learn more about her, but it would take some time. She's planning to steal the curse stones just like us. Just we act carefully around her. Yeah, absolutely. Next is a tall man who was dressed in black. I met him near Kinshicho. He stood out with the way he dressed. I managed to get some good information from him. Impressive. What can I say? He works as a secretary to Hihaku Soap's chairman. I believe his name is Takumi Yumioka. The Hihaku Soap's headquarters and factories are both located in Honjo, correct? Yes, they've been here for a while, but it's only the past 10 years that the company has shown significant growth. I remember seeing the chairwoman on the news a few years back. She seemed to be very shrewd. With the increase in sales, I assumed she'd want her factories running at full capacity. With the harsh restrictions against industrial waste, a lot of the factories with older equipment had to be shut down. Wait, sorry. Had be to shut down. Yeah, okay, no, that was genuinely a writing mistake. Okay. That's right. Even 10 years ago, there were many complaints about chemical plants dumping waste into the river. Most companies back then were more concerned with making a profit than protecting the environment. I wonder what a man working for such a company would have been up to in the middle of the night. On the way here, I stopped by the company's headquarters, but they hadn't started for the day. Should have better luck later. Let's hope you will. Perhaps they're interested in seeing if the right would be beneficial for their product research into beauty and skincare. Ha! Now that's an interesting thought. Yeah. Shrewd businesswoman. Ran into one more suspicious young man last night. This one seemed to be out collecting salt dregs, right? Indeed. Couldn't get a good look at him, though, and I couldn't gather enough intel to properly identify him. That's a shame. I can make an educated guess. Oh? You know that researcher who discovered the ancient text on the Rite of Resurrection? The one that lives near here? His name is Hideki Araishi, and the man I met was very similar in stature. Oh my, even he is involved? How awfully suspect. Considering his background, couldn't he be the one who initiated the whole affair? I think it's possible, yes. Which is why I decided to refrain from making contact with him for the time being. Safety first. Understandable. Of course, I want to learn more, but this isn't the right time to focus on him. Oh, Jesus, we got a lot to talk about. I prefer to ascertain who else is a curse bearer. First, I'll return to Hihaku Soaps to see that man in black. Their headquarters are down on South Warigesui Street. Okay. Learned something new about the criminal involved with the kidnapping. It concerns the serial killings. There was a body found in Komagata High School. The person was identified as a school teacher. His name is Kohei Jonochi. Do you think he was a curse bearer? Not sure. It's possible. But regardless, this means the two people who knew the truth about the kidnapping are both dead. Just when we're getting somewhere. It isn't enough to make me give up, of course. Still, we don't know anything about Michio Shiraichi's residence. Be wise to pay it a visit. Understood. In addition to the 3 victims associated with the Honjo serial killings, there's Michio Shiraishi, who reportedly committed suicide, and the police officer who died at the former Yasuda Gardens. Strange deaths continue occurring like so, they're bound to inspire strange rumors. But those last 2 have nothing to do with the mysteries, no? It's true, both occurred a week before this accursed situation began. Still, cannot be ruled out. It's possible the mastermind was involved even with those killings. How? What if there were preliminary steps to awakening the 7 mysteries curses? Oh shit, okay, yep, I'm on board. Can we really assume they're unrelated just because the timing doesn't match up? Or rather, the police officer's death is so baffling that it'd be easier if it were connected to these curses. The victim wasn't the type to be caught off guard easily. You seem to know a lot about this. I suppose we weren't strangers. Personal feelings might be wrapped up in this one, too. I see. If you were to investigate this matter more, you might get a lead on the mastermind. You're right. If we wish to focus on the mastermind's identity, this would be a fine starting point. Hold on a second. Save the game real quick. This one, slot 4. I'm gonna start using the mouse again a bit more. Serial killings. We might even discover more deaths related to the curses on the way. We should pay attention to today's news. Well, that's all I have to report. Shall we continue our investigation? What do you want to do? You still can't use the curse stone. Taking a walk should be fine. Fine place to start. Right. Let's go together. I want to see what's going on for myself. In that case, I'll trust you to decide on where we should go, ma'am. Alright. Should we go and research which places have stood out to me most so far? Good question. I'm not sure where we should go. Warigasui. Oh yeah, we could track down Yuta. Yeah, let's go with that. South Warigasui Street. The Hiyaku Soap's headquarters are on the other side of Southwest Warigasui Street. They were closed when I visited this morning, but it appears things are up and running now. He tells me he barely slept last night, and yet he seems to be brimming with energy. Was I too that resilient at his age? This is what sets apart a detective from the rest. How old is Haruo? Does not say. A small soap-making company could grow so much in such a short time. They have factories and warehouses throughout the area now. You can see why director and now chairwoman Natsue Yamamori is called the Queen. Hello? Oh, a chemical producer that ranks 4th largest in the domestic detergent market and 7th largest in the cosmetic market. From its humble beginnings as a small soap factory established after the war in 1946, founder Natsue Yamamori utilized her feminine perspective and a well-timed economic boom to boldly lead the company into new markets. Even as the market grew crowded with the industrialization of Sumida City, the company continued to expand, digging its roots deep into the area. In particular, it established itself as a household name by focusing its branding toward the rapidly expanding convenience store market. Its flagship products now include cosmetics, detergents, soap, shampoo, and more. The company's name, Hihaku, can also refer to kasuri, a type of patented fabric. I see. Oh. Hi. Question mark for Curse Echo. Because we just don't know. Natsue is the former president of Hihaku Soaps, a chemicals company. Former president? Is it? Wait, isn't she currently? Something about the Queen? Why isn't that line in the log yet? Oh, maybe it's because I haven't gotten past this bit yet, but... though she retired from her position 2 years ago, she still wields great influence over the company from her position of chairwoman. Oh, president, chairwoman, different things. Okay, right. Recently, there have been rumors about her possessing strange and powerful magical abilities, earning her the nickname the Witch of Hihaku. Okay. Prior to the war, Natsue enjoyed working her dream job at a textile factory. She was forced to face the bitter reality of the world, however, when the factory was destroyed by a fire during the war, and she was ordered to rework the fabrics she had painstakingly crafted into something more suitable for blue-collar work. Witnessing the rise in popularity of Western-style clothing in the post-war period, Natsue left the textile industry. However, a nod to her past can be seen in her company's name, with Hihaku being another name for kasuri, a type of fabric featuring patterns and images woven into dried fibers, or woven with dyed fibers. Having long been dissatisfied with the soap supplied at the textile factory, Natsue saw a business opportunity and set up her own small soap factory. Taking inspiration from imported soap brands, she developed new products which quickly gained a good reputation. Ever the shrewd businesswoman, Natsue ran an aggressive promotional campaign on TV featuring a popular Japanese singer, rapidly turning Hihaku soaps into a household name. You mentioned that Takumi works as her secretary. That's correct. Do you think it's possible he's acting on her orders? That's exactly my thinking. A curse bearer with both money and power could certainly look at resurrection as their next prize. Negotiating with a person of that stature may prove difficult. Business is up and running. I can see people inside the reception area. It's like really weird choices to and not to mark something as complete. Back in the Edo period, the canal known as South Warigasui ran through this area, but it's been turned into a major road. It's a bit away from Kinshicho Station or Ryogoku Station, though it's still considered a nice area. Stories of the ever-burning lantern and the foot-washing mansion both took place around here. One of the bodies discovered this morning was found by this road as well. This is quite a lively area, huh? I suppose you could call it somewhat of a city center. South Warigasui Street. A Warigasui, literally partitioning ditch, refers to a waterway dug down the middle of a road so as to divide it. At the dawn of the Edo period, the Honjo district was little more than a collection of suburban rice farms. As the area became more developed, the South Warigasui was excavated in order to drain rainwater into the Yokojiken River to the east. Though it served the people long and faithfully, it was converted into an underground culvert at the beginning of the Showa era. It's a culvert. Structure that channels water past an obstacle to a subterranean waterway. Oh, okay. Interesting. Never heard that word used before. In the present, no trace of it remains on the surface, but the street that bears its name. See, like, it shows, yeah, so the... So an influential person at Hihaku Soaps is potentially a curse bearer. Richter proposed we use money to negotiate for the curse stones. We could hardly outbid a large corporation if it came down to it. It's very true. First, I need to confirm whether Takumi is the man I ran into last night. Then I'll be able to determine if he's a curse bearer. It'd be better if I go inside the headquarters alone. You should walk around. Visit a cafe for some tea, perhaps? Better if I go inside the headquarters alone. Okay. It's just really strange the way that it wants to go about stuff like this. Like, you could streamline this a little bit more so that once you finish the conversation, Richter just goes in. But no, you have to finish the conversation with him and see that there's still more to talk about with him, and he says he's going to go in, and then you talk with him again to get the same line again to indicate you need to do something else. Like, rather than letting the conversation naturally drive it, it relies too much on repeating dialogue to actually get you to... Repeating dialogue and not locking things off because eventually you have to click them as a way to guide you, rather than rethinking how that actually flows. It's weird. I'm gonna go in. Maybe a while, so... Feel to find some... feel free. Feel free to find somewhere to kill time. Okay. Good luck in there. And then he died. Sorry to keep you waiting. How did it go? I'll fast forward to the conclusion. I met with Takumi. There's no doubt he's the same man I saw last night. But it doesn't seem like he's a curse bearer. Really? That doesn't mean he has no connections to the recent curses. He knew about the 7 mysteries. He even guessed we have a curse stone of our own. Excuse me? I tried to approach Takumi about a fallen item after I ran into him last night. However, you said your name is Richter, correct? I have a favor I'd like to ask of you. I'm hoping you would hand over the curse stone in your possession. Curse stone? What do you want about? There's no need to play dumb with me. In fact, there's no time for it. I had all the same reason you did to think you were a curse bearer last night. And your arrival here only confirms it. You are a curse bearer, no? Hey, newest girl, how's it going? You're right. We lack time. We're so engrossed in Ranma 1, 2, think I missed the notif. That's alright. I also missed my alarm. So, you're not alone there. I'll confess, I am a curse bearer. I possess the curse stone of the haunting clappers. I'm glad to hear the truth. Finally, this conversation is worthwhile. It is a dangerous item you hold. Give it to me. My company will take the responsibility to dispose of it. I didn't know the soap business specialized in scrubbing curses clean. It is the prerogative of Miss Yamamori. Is that so? It's always something with us, I fear. Yeah, unfortunately. Assuming you've obtained the curse, you understand the power it involves, no? Miss Yamamori possesses supernatural powers akin to those of a god. She also has a deep love for this land, having transformed it from the pile of dirt it once was to the home of our headquarters. She cannot stomach the fact that it's now the site of these curses run rampant. So you're telling me the Queen of Hihaku is a real-life witch? She wouldn't appreciate being called that, mind you. There's a sorcerer by the name of Sui Gamyodo who's gallantly working behind the scenes, exorcising spirits and the like. Go on. That being so, there have already been instances of the dead coming back to life. Do you understand the urgency of this matter? These are curses we're speaking of, tools which are used by wicked beings to possess people. The rite of resurrection is nothing but a fabrication meant to seduce the curse bearers into unspeakable action. If you truly understand what I'm talking about, you must hand over that curse stone at once. Very interested. With that said, just how many curse stones have you acquired so far? What you tell me is true, surely the company would have launched a large-scale search by now. We have 6. What? Whoa! Okay, no, back up. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9. That's not possible. So we've got Harue, Yako, Tsutsumi, who have 3. Well, 3 each. And then Tsutsumi also has the foot washing mansion and the ever burning lantern, which is 5. But he's claiming that there are 6 in their possession. Unless they are under the impression that Satsumi having the ones he has means that they're basically theirs. They might be working with the police or something, because we don't really know. Something's not lining up there. Something isn't lining up there. 6? Whoa. I can rest at ease then. Here I thought I was at risk of being cursed. It seems we are on the same page. If that is the case, you should hand over your curse stone immediately. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but it's not actually in my possession at the moment. Considering its importance, I've been keeping it in hiding. Really now? Then I'll accompany you while you retrieve it. I'm sorry, but I've got something important to attend to. But I promise I'll return with it later. Very well. Then you won't refuse to provide your address and telephone number, I presume. How prudent of you. I'll oblige. And that's how it went. So they aren't after the right after all. I wouldn't be so quick to trust him. Oh? I believe we're dealing with a master of deception. He may well have made up a story to convince us to part ways with our stone. I think he was lying about having procured 6 stones as well. Like, really? 6? That's excessive. Well, now I feel gullible. The company is plotting something. Wonder what they mean to do with the curse stones. Seem rather desperate to get a hold of ours, despite us not having collected any soul dregs. Perhaps the people at Hihaku were the masterminds behind the curses being unleashed. Because the chairwoman's a witch? I wonder about that too. If she really were that powerful, would her secretary have divulged that information so casually? Takumi was either making it up as he went, or he's trying to spread a rumor. For what purpose would he do that? Recently, people have been caught up about the occult more than ever before. Word spreads that Hihaku's chairwoman has godlike powers. She could very well benefit socially and politically from that mystique. That's unsettling. And we're back here. We should avoid Hihaku for the time being. It'll be a pain if I have to deal with Takumi again. By the way, there's one more thing of interest I heard while in the company's reception lobby. And what's that? People were discussing whether one of the bodies found this morning was that of a Hihaku employee. Really? As long as the officials haven't revealed the identity, it all amounts to no more than speculation, though. Despite that, I've reason to believe Hihaku Soaps is deeply involved with the Seven Mysteries. At the very least, I can assure you I've gathered that much. The more we know, the better our negotiations will go. In the meantime, we should go off somewhere else. There's no reason to stick around here any longer. Right. How interesting that the Queen of Hihaku, or the witch, whatever she is trying to get her hands on the right of resurrection. It's like some kind of dark fairy tale. Regardless of what it is, regardless of what is or isn't true, we must stay one step ahead. Alright, let's go to the high school, because we'll find out that Teach is dead. Here we are at ground zero, when we got to high school. I guess it's logical that the police got this place shut down. Teacher's body was found here after all. It's as if the students have nowhere to go now that school's closed. It seems the officers are still inspecting the scene. Entry has been strictly prohibited. Did that stop you, man? News has attracted a bunch of curious onlookers, huh? That works in our favor. More people around, the better we can blend in. True. appears to be wary of those police officers. Maybe the police really do have something against private investigators, just like in those detective novels. Wait, why was that? Why was the camera doing that? It goes up and then starts veering right. Odd camera movement to kind of like speed up and go to the right there. 2 people died. A teacher named Koei Jonochi and a student, Michio Shiraishi. Is there anything else to be gained here? This place is said to be connected with the story of the Fool's Procession. I won't be surprised if Cursebearer decided to turn up. However, I need to find out if that teacher was Cursebearer or not. I expect the police to be baffled, since they don't know what about the curses. I can ask around and see what the students have to say. Yeah, might as well. Alright, I'll go ask the students about Michio. She's dead. Back, ma'am. So what did you learn? School kids sure love a good rumor. I was practically drowning in stories about Mr. Jonochi and Michio, most of which seemed dubious at best. Not surprising. Most of what I heard was hardly worth a second thought. There was one story that caught my attention. Oh? Some believe that Michio is the one who killed Mr. Jonochi. Really? The story's got 2 pieces of evidence to back it up. One of them wasn't news to me. Apparently he's been mumbling about Michio was going to kill him for some days now. A fellow teacher overheard his mumblings and told the students. And then it spread like wildfire, I suppose. Rumors that juicy don't stay a secret for long. As for the other piece of evidence, a pigtailed girl in her school uniform was seen around the school late last night. Go on. Although numerous people claim to have seen the girl, not one of them saw her face. Some are proposing it was Michio brought back to life, or that it was her vengeful spirit. But it's not like Michio is the only high school girl to wear pigtails. This rumor might have been made up just to fan the flames. But if it were true, I'd want to get a hold of her in order to hear her side of the kidnapping. If she's alive, that'd be ideal. Still one more thing I should mention. I discovered where Michio lived. The student had a list of student addresses on hand. That's an amazing find. I believe all the students actually have a copy of said list. It really worries me how easy it was to obtain what should be confidential information. Imagine what would happen if that information got into the wrong hands. Well, so far it hasn't, no? Sure. Let's hope it stays that way. In the meantime, it's now possible for us to visit Michio Shiraishi's house. Okay. I can imagine the students are uneasy after learning of the murder. It may do them well to stay home for some time, not for fear of their safety. Police are probably too wrapped up in solving the case to be concerned about the students' mental health. I can see that. It's important that society provides a safe environment for the benefit of our youth. Some school policies could use some rewriting, especially those handling students' personal information. That's right. I don't want a student being kidnapped on their way back home ever again. And I expect criminals to grow more cunning as time passes. There may be times where the authorities can't keep up. That's where outlaws such as myself come in. What's this about? Oh. Actually, just forget I said anything. Uh-huh. Oh, yep. Needs to be very clear. Yeah, okay. Okay, I think we're done here then. No stickers? Nope. Michio's home. I expect her family might be able to tell us more, but it's a hard topic to bring up so soon after her suicide. However, it's normal for a high school girl to keep things hidden from her parents, especially if it involves criminal activity. I mean, is there any reason to go? I guess we can still go to the park. Fuck it, might as well. We might learn something. We're here. This is Midoricho Park. Yame Tono lives around here. She wasn't in her apartment when I dropped by this morning. It's worth checking again. Learning? I learned once. Yeah, same. Well, this is using the same thing as when we were following the investigators. This place is connected with the story of the Taiko Tsugaru. Not only that, Katsushika Hokusai's house was also in this area. That might be why Ayame chose to live here. Small park border. Actually, I'm learning now. I started classes last Tuesday. Hell yeah! What are you getting classes on? Small park bordering South Warigasui Street, sporting a mixture of cherry and evergreen trees. IT. Hell yeah! Like just in general, or going into something specific. Although unremarkable in most respects, its small playground always attracts a number of children come evening. While no trace remains in the modern day, it stands on what was once the site of Tsugaru Estate. Legendary artist Katsushika Hokusai is also believed to have been born in the vicinity. Oh, right, because she wanted to bring back... Yeah, an artist. Forgot about that. The only degree path I have at my local uni is business IT management. Snore. I mean, I'm a software engineer, of course I'm going to say that. It's always heartwarming to see children playing in the park. Richter seems to like kids. Perhaps because they're on the same wavelength? Alright? Hello? Rude? We won't get much done standing around here. Why don't I go and check out Ayame's apartment? You don't mean to speak with her, do you? No, I prefer to get an idea of what she's been up to. I'd like to see whether she's been home or not, just to potentially get a trace on her movements. Then be my guest. Okay, that shouldn't be long. 10 hours later. I'm back, ma'am. So, nothing? I'm afraid so. She still hasn't returned. However, I notice a few people who seem to be related to the police force keep watching the area. I don't know if they got eyes on her apartment, but they do appear to be watching the building it's in. My accounting prof wants me to change my major because of how quickly it came to me, but I don't know about all that. Change it to what, though? Interesting. I've got a sharp eye to have noticed them despite them being so covert. What can I say? It's part of the job. However, it meant I had to refrain from knocking on the door or looking through the windows. Wasn't able to check her electric meter or mailbox either, unfortunately. You were planning to go that far? Yeah. How else do you get information on stuff like that? Won't make much progress sticking around here. Oh, okay, guess we're done then. Near the Shiraishi household. How did it go? Went to visit Michio Shirashi's family home. I think they just call the program accounting, but the actual job would be a CPA. Oh. Huh. It's me to change my major because of how quickly it came to me. Like, how quickly you're getting on with accounting. Is that, like, a path that interests you, or... I don't know. Like, just, like... Obviously, like, I'm a software engineer. I really like tinkering with software and stuff like that. That kind of... I don't know about interest. Yeah. That side of IT always bored the fuck out of me. I'm not gonna lie. Everything to do with, like, very simple accounting and shit is just turns my fucking brain to mush. Like, I cannot pay attention to that shit. It's so boring to me. You know, obviously, it doesn't make it, like, not important or not a valid interest, but, like, ugh. I want to be a housewife, but capitalism is oppressive. Yeah, it sure fucking is. Listen, if I could be a house husband, I probably would pick doing that in a heartbeat. I'm not gonna lie. And, like, still do my job, but just, like, wind down the hours or some shit, because, yeah. But, dating's not going well, so, yeah. No one seemed to be there. Got no answers at the door, and all the lights were out. Seems to have been empty for a while now. There was a stack of newspapers out front. I don't understand why no one's come to this house, even after Michio's committed suicide. I wonder if this place is okay. Shit, marry me and get me out of this hellhole country. Yep, well, no, but Nuisco, we can't both be house husbands and wives. One of us has to work. At least one of us. Damn it. Yeah, no, yeah. I'm just imagining that, and they were both bottoms. Meme, but it's like, and they both wanted to be house partners. Shit, that's not gonna work. Clearly this is, and they were both homemakers. Yeah, exactly. This is why this is why we need to invest in the polycule. It's a bit quieter over here. It is a residential area after all. All these rundown row houses really scream working class, don't they? Yeah. Stickers? Stickers? No stickers. Oh, yeah, it's the same as before. Every single time we start on his chest, it's great. I never like these messy and clubbed back streets. They give me the jitters every time. It's reassuring to have someone as strong and tall as Richter accompanying me. He looks so unfazed. I suppose the detective is used to this kind of thing, always investigating and chasing criminals. I wouldn't be cut out for it. Social connections run deep in working class areas like this place, so I decided to talk to the locals. Met a few nice old ladies who were kind enough to give me the scoop. Turns out the Shirashi's reputation really went down the dumps this past year. Is that so? I'll give you the quick summary. They moved here about 3 years ago. Their previous residence was in a better part of town. Michio's father died in a car accident, leaving behind just the two of them. Michio's mom, Toshiko, now a single mother, relocated here. First they got along with their neighbors, many of which were in similar situations, helping and being helped in turn. So far so good. Oh, so far so good. What happened? Well, as I said, their reputation began to go downhill about a year ago. A man recognized as Toshiko's common-law husband and moved into the household. His name was apparently Kenkichiro Iwai. Neighborhood gossip is something else. Somehow everyone knew his name. So, what of this Iwai character? He was apparently a vulgar fellow with a criminal record. He was prone to violent outbursts. The neighbors often heard screams and shouting coming from the home. Neighbors took particular notice of Toshiko's screams, pleading with him not to hit Michio. That's terrible. As if that wasn't unsettling enough, every night the neighbors also began to hear an eerie chanting. Through this, the Shirashi's standing in the neighborhood plummeted rapidly. Toshiko was often seen covered in bruises and wounds. She stopped responding to her neighbors. She would just turn the other way when greeted. They kept their storm shutters closed even during the day, and effectively shut themselves away from the entire community. That sounds horrible. Why didn't the police step in and do something? Unfortunately, under our current laws, the police aren't allowed to get involved with domestic disputes. That's awful. Well, I mean, it is kind of shit that no one can help in that situation, but I also probably wouldn't trust the police to manage all domestic disputes. Well, considering gestures. And then Michio reportedly killed herself. Things only got worse with Iwai, and Toshiko was admitted to the hospital for physical and mental abuse. Ever since, Iwai hasn't returned to the home. Many locals expressed sympathy for Michio's circumstances, but just as many were fed up with the Shirashis entirely and seemed relieved that things finally quieted down again. It seems that they were still considered outsiders even after 3 years of living here. I don't understand it. Why would Toshiko have gotten involved with such a brutish good-for-nothing in the first place? I've heard many stories where one partner's personality does a complete turn after entering a relationship. After her first husband's death, Toshiko's financial situation had also taken a turn for the worse. She was determined to send her daughter to a good high school. It's possible she fell victim to sweet promises. Life can be tough, I suppose. Seem moved by the story, man. That's fine. People have all kinds of stories. Oh, collect all information on persons of interest. Ooh. The common law husband of Michio Shiraishi's mother, Toshiko Shiraishi. Kenkichiro started coming and going from the Shiraishi household a little over a year ago. It seems he has served some time in prison, but the details are unknown. Is that like a year ago? Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, so you came here too. Huh? What is it? Oh. Ah. Could you repeat what you know one more time for me, Richter? I see. Interesting. Have I taken a break? Did I take a second break? I don't think I've taken a second break. I should probably do that now, because I'm probably going to wrap up before 3 o'clock, which is, like, within an hour, so... yeah. We'll take a quick break here. We'll probably get through, like, one more chapter here, depending. But yeah, okay. Now we're starting to get some interactions between these stories. So, one of the things I'm interested in, just because we've established there are different timelines going on here, different processes of events, I am wondering, like, it would be a huge meta thing, and, like, I mean, the game has already started off pretty meta, so, like... But, I am wondering if it's possible that there's some alternate timelines happening at the same time for different people. So that the player is aware of more information to help them kind of continue on, is my thought. But, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I will be right back, and we'll get another chapter done. I'm back. Shorter break, but considering we're gonna wrap up within an hour, I think it's fine. Alright. Let's see what these two are up to then. Fancy sushi. With dusk fast approaching, they have no choice. They have no time to waste. With that in mind, Tsutsumi and oh my god, the fucking writing is like. With dusk fast approaching, they have no time to waste. With that in mind, it's like you don't need to establish that. It's such a weird, like, phrase to try and join to the next sentence. You could just say, with dusk fast approaching, they have no time to waste. Tsutsumi and Airyo direct their investigation toward Komagata High School and the Shiraishi residence. You don't need a joining phrase in the middle of that. It's implicit. But, yeah, I don't know. Like I was saying before, just for newest girls' benefit, it definitely feels like this game got translated but not localized, if that makes sense. Where a lot of the phrasing and idiosyncrasies you have with Japanese phrases are maintained in English, but that makes the English make less sense. It's not on the level of, like, actual mistranslations or anything like that. If anything, it's like, too literal to the Japanese, I would guess. But, yeah. Back to the fucking, buddy cop music. 2000s era FF spin-off call. Potentially, yeah. Meanwhile, 80s era buddy cop opening song vibes here. Here we are, Komagata High. Classes are suspended for the day, so the students are just kind of wandering around aimlessly. News of the dead teacher has also attracted a fair share of rubberneckers. The atmosphere is kind of tense with this many cops around. Komagata High's gymnasium also serves as a polling place and evacuation center. A lot of the buildings around here are still made of wood, but this place looks safe and sturdy. Yeah, real. Yep. Oh, we already had that. Schoolgate will stay locked while forensics inspects. That's a bit of a tongue twister. Like, not a huge one, but just like a tiny one. The scene of the incident. Looks like they're still busy. Let's talk to the person in charge later. Okay. Ideally, we could talk to someone who was involved in the incident. Easier said than done, though. This place isn't only connected to the case just because the students were under Yoshimi's jurisdiction. It's also the site of the Fool's Procession, and of course, where that teacher was killed. Seems like a likely place to find some clues, don't you think? I agree. Oh, right. Speaking of schools, what is it? You said Paranormal Affairs can't help us right now. So why don't we get that psychic high school you mentioned to help us? A lot of the people involved in this case lead back to this school anyway, so it might make things easy to have them with us. For a guy who questioned me on the legality of working with them, you seem eager to exploit underage labor. Oh, awesome. One thing I will say about the writing is that it does do a good job of bringing back things that are mentioned earlier, but for character reasons, to like get in, to like have someone rib the other, especially with these two. It's very good writing. Hey, who said anything about exploiting them? I just want to give our young experts the opportunity to shine. When do you become such a smooth talker? Anyway, I'm afraid I don't know where they are. Oh, I see. I wonder if there's anyone who could help us scout out the area. What? Is there something on my shirt? Ah, don't tell me I stink. I don't think there is. Are we good? 9 AM. Perfectly reasonable time for students to be at school. Yes. I doubt this will be that simple. But we can't talk. But yeah, it would be good to get... Wait, what does it want me to do? I wonder if there's anyone who could help us scout out the area. There's no one else here. Do I have to leave? It's giving me no indication that I shouldn't move on, but, like, I can't do anything, so, like... What? Seems like Michio's house is at the end of this road. We don't want to intimidate them, so maybe I should go alone. There we go, I was checking the Shiraishi house at the end of the road. This street's real narrow, so two big guys like us would stick out like a pair of sore thumbs. Houses are really crammed together in these narrow alleyways. Strangers like us walking through definitely stand out. It really feels like old Tokyo. Okay. It's quiet. This place is normally pretty lively, full of people coming and going. It seems like everyone's decided to stay inside because of the recent incidents. So the Shiraishi household. There's a chance that Michio didn't actually kill herself. Might be for the best that we didn't find her parents. Alright, I'll go check the house. Oh my... This is a... That was actually timed? Oh, okay. Damn. Could have fooled me. What? That's so weird. I feel like we've run into two scenarios with Haruwe where that didn't happen, but it just auto-progressed. Why would it not do Oh, you're back. No luck, boss. No one home? Doesn't look like it. I knocked for a while, but nobody came to the door. Glance in the window. Oh, excuse me. Glanced in the windows, but there was no sign of activity inside either. And I saw about 3 newspapers stuffed into their mailbox. What? What? Huh? Excuse me? You cannot currently progress any further. But we didn't... But you... We got booted out of we got booted out of Yako's story. Because we couldn't... Like, it just said, and they went to do this thing, and then we got out, and these stories popped up. So my interpretation of that was, oh, okay, that's something I can't fix right now. Right? Like, similar to this, you get into a situation where you can't progress, you get booted out, and, you know, it just looks like this. But now, we've been booted out of this, but nothing really indicated... Oh, man. This story... This game feels like it's very, very bad at managing like, the in-betweens and the amount of freedom that it gives the player. Because it's not good at signaling when you can't progress outside of that particular circumstance. It's not, like, and it's got, like, it's had 3 different ways of suspending play at this point. instead of just, like, a really consistent way that it happens. It's not very good at indicating when you can go back to the story. You know, kind of like the locks in the Zero Escape games. When you hit a dead end that you can't get past, it locks it so you can see it's there. And when you eventually get a piece of information that can clear it, it unlocks for you, and it shows you, hey, this bit is available now. The thing you just did is relevant to that. And, you know, it might not be clear why initially, but at the very least it does indicate that to you. Whereas this game just, like, puts you back out. And, like, you know, what the fuck were we... Why were we able to do anything... And, like, it feels like it's giving it too much freedom, too, which is the third thing. So, like, in this circumstance, we could start this chapter, but we effectively couldn't do anything. We explored everything at the school, and then it just kind of ended there without indicating that you can go further, or go, like, whether you should move on or not, which is another thing entirely. So make that number 4. But then, it lets you go to the area that you need to have finished a previous story for to actually get to. So, what's the point of being able to start this chapter without having done Yako's chapter? Like, it feels like it wants to give you a lot of freedom to approach the story the way you want, but you need to be and when they realized how careful they needed to be about all of this, they didn't think about how that actually works in terms of structure. Like, it's really unfair to compare this to, like, 13 Sentinels, because 13 Sentinels does this thing, like, managing where you can go and all that, masterfully, because it really needed to. But take a look at how that works. Like, it is very, very careful and very clear on when you can go and do things. And it tells you, like, the conditions for checking. I'm not asking for that here necessarily, but one of the important things it does do is it doesn't let you start a thing that would be pointless if you need some prior information to do that. And I kind of understand the idea of, like, it creates mystery and not tension, but it creates intrigue. It creates a lot of mystery and intrigue to get booted out of a sequence because, well, you haven't done that just yet. Yeah, there's something you haven't done just yet, and you need to go and do other story to get there, because it's like, ooh, why am I being pushed off of this? Does something that the other characters do actually end up having an effect on what's happening here? Ooh, maybe we need some information before we actually approach this. I wonder what that's gonna be. But, like, it doesn't but, like, I don't think it wields that very well here, because there's nothing to it. And because the rest of the direction in terms of what the player needs to do is so badly communicated, I end up just going, what the fuck was even the point? I'm not left with a sense of mystery and intrigue of, like, ooh, what's happening here? Because, like, I can imagine what's gonna happen here. Like, these three need to line up, and suddenly, Tsutsumi, ends up running into Harue and, Richter. But, like, so, like, it kind of undermines the mystery a little bit there, because you could do it in any sequence, but that's not necessarily the worst thing. But it just doesn't matter. Like, you go into that scene, you feel misdirected as the player, and then you leave, and all I'm left with feeling is, why the fuck could I even do that in the first place? There's no like, I gained nothing. It's not like I learned a bit of information and then something else is going to happen, but you need to have done previous story to get there. You get nothing, and then you're booted out. And it's just like, okay. Yeah. I'm also wondering at this point, what the fuck is even the point of the alternate timelines? It feels like it's trying to do visual novel shit, but then it's not managing well how it is actually doing that. Or it's just there for superfluous reasons. Like, it's cool that you get to see, like, the failure states. Yeah, that, like, obviously that's really cool. But in the first in the prologue, we established this whole thing about, like, an alternate timeline of what was happening. And you could, like, I'm probably reading that at this stage as, this was showing you the stakes. Like, it put you into a situation where Shogo is using the curses and gives you... It gives the player a shitload of information on the scenario. It sets the stakes pretty well. Like, it's really good. But since then, why has any of this been doable in the way that it has been? Why could I approach any of this stuff in any order when A, it doesn't manage actually bumping you between the chapters well, and B, does actually institute some ordering in some places? Like, it doesn't feel like it has purpose to... Like, I don't... At the moment, I'm looking at this, and I don't understand why they are doing it this way. Is kind of the point. They're not doing it well. They're not doing it in some places, they're very, like, bad at it. So far, it has served no purpose in the story. So I'm just left here thinking, like... Why not just present this as a completely linear set of chapters? Like, I guess it's cool you get to jump around, but, like, when you're doing... Like, but you need to know that you're letting the players do that, and I don't think they're doing that very well. Sorry, yeah, it's a little frustrating, because I'm just, like... Some of the writing is good, and I feel like the mystery is intriguing still, but I'm not gonna lie... Since the prologue, I feel like the game is starting to lose me, because it's taken away the stakes of the actual curse fights. It's taken away the idea that these protagonists might be at each other's throats because of the nature of being a curse bearer. It's not introduced anything that's been particularly interesting outside of the curse bearer thing. And the core mystery, while it's still being built, is being managed really poorly because of the way it's structured the gameplay. I really hope this game picks up, because, like, it has an amazing premise and started off really promising, and it's starting to lose me. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna resume this. Start from location selection. And we went to the bridge, if I remember correctly. And so... decided to... Ooh, I'm not happy. What? Oh, okay, legitimately, I want everyone to stop and have a think about what just happened, okay? We went into this chapter, we learnt nothing, and we got told that you can't make any more progress. I went back to the only other chapter I can go to, I selected a location, and then it booted me out again. What am I meant to be doing? Like... yeah, confusing is a word for it. Okay, hold on. Start from location selection. Let's just pick a different thing. Let's go to the gardens. Did I soft lock a visual novel? The end of this road. We don't want to intimidate them, so maybe I should go alone. Also, I will also say, the music too is just, like, managed in a really confusing way. It seems like any given scene doesn't have music to it. It feels like there are on and off flags for the music, right? So there's an on flag with a track, and then there's an off flag. So if you go into this scene having already had music playing, it doesn't have an on or an off flag, so it just keeps playing the music. But if you go to it straight away, it has no music because it doesn't have an on or an off flag. Just joined, and the first thing I hear is, did I soft lock a visual novel? Yeah, welcome, Vulpix. Yes, I'm very confused as to what is going on right now. Shiraishi household. Alright, I'll go check the house. Sweet. So you go. Just wait until he gets back. And this is just arbitrarily timed for some reason. So then he comes back. No luck. No one home. Doesn't look like it. Nobody came to the door. I glanced in the windows, but there was no sign of activity inside either. And I saw about 3 newspapers stuffed into their mailbox. Crouched into the alleyways. Looks like old Tokyo. Looks kind of just... Oh, Arrow looks kind of disappointed. It's quiet. The place is normally pretty lively. If all this, stay inside because of recent incidents. Sure. Looks like no one's home right now. Let's try again later. Okay. Not much we can do if they're not home. Let's go somewhere else for now. What? We got a high classes spend for the day, so the students just kind of wandering around. Yeah. Use the dead rubberneckers. Atmosphere is kind of tense. Yup. Something on my shirt don't tell me I stink. Ideally, we could talk to someone who's involved in the incident. Easier said than done, though. School gates. Looks like they're busy. Let's talk to the person in charge later. This place isn't only connected to the case because the students were under Yoshimi's jurisdiction, it's also the site of the Fool's Procession. This place with clues. Yeah, I agree. Alright, speaking of schools. So Paranormal Affairs can't help with us, so why don't we get that psychic high school? A lot of people involved in the case, it would be easy to have them with us. Child labor exploitation, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm not exploiting them, I'm just using them to do work. Become such a smooth talker. Anyway, I'm afraid I don't know where they are. Let's see. I wonder if there's anyone who can help us scout out the area. What? What do you mean? What do you mean? What, am I stuck in a fucking time loop? What? I mean, we could go back to school. Would that line up with seeing them? Maybe? Like, we have to put them in that position to do the thing? Decide on the next location. And it boots me out again. Why is it booting me out? Okay, let's go back to the high school. I at least want the music playing. Oh my god, they're there. Okay, before I was I was gonna be really fucking mad and incredulous about, like, soft-locking a visual novel. And I'm still gonna say it. Well, I'm still going to say my thoughts regarding that, or the thoughts that led me to thinking like that. So, this did an incredibly poor job of telling you what to do directly, right? The characters in the story are not talking to the player about what they should be doing. So follow me here for a second. The characters are just acting like they would. Aereo and Tsutsumi go to the school, they don't find anyone there. They go to the housing, they don't find anyone there, right? Now, the player actually has the ability to move one of these characters around, right? So they can essentially... So from a literal gameplay perspective, I start going everywhere I can, right? But then I get booted out. So the game is saying, well, guess we'll see what they're up to next time, and leaving. And then this other scenario, the characters are like, well, yeah, I wish someone was here, right? So, on one hand, I feel like this is fucking terrible because it's not clear to the player that that could even happen. Furthermore, I can't even look at the fucking chart without sure. Furthermore, these two things are not happening at the same time. Okay? Like, obviously to some degree, yeah, putting someone in the past in a place for them in the future kind of makes sense. But, like, clearly what it's trying to get you to think about is the meta aspect of this, right? And first off, I think it's done a fucking terrible job at that. Where it's not clear that this is even a thing. These two events aren't happening at the same time. And you, like, nothing in this scenario is, like, giving you an idea that where you put them at the end of that chapter actually changes something, right? So, I think on a signaling and gameplay perspective, this is fucking terrible. However, I do really like the meta aspect of it. I think the game could have done a far better job at actually signaling that this was a thing that could potentially happen. Like, maybe this stays lit up, but then you get, like, a thing that's disconnected from here, saying, this is where those characters are. So, you're looking at Fancy Sushi going, they need to talk to someone, but there's no one there. And then you're looking at these two characters in a location you chose, and then you go back into here thinking, well, obviously something needs to happen here. Then you choose a different location, and you see that it changes here. And then you're like, oh my god, I'm moving them around. They're not seeing someone in this time because I didn't put them there, right? That could be really cool. That could be a really cool, realization of, oh, Jesus, the meta power the player has here is actually a lot more powerful than the game was acknowledging. And that could be a really cool discovery. But again, the, lower level managing of the player's interactions and their impact on the world isn't set up very well. And in some cases, you don't want to set up that this is a thing, right? You want, I can definitely see this being, a realization you come to, right? And it's really rewarding as the player for the story to not have told you any of that, and then you realize you are capable of more than it was telling you you were, right? I think that's really cool. But Jesus fucking Christ, was this not communicated in any fucking way possible? Well, sorry. The way they chose to... Yeah. So this is a really hard thing to do in game design, where you need the player to make a realization that you're not telling them. Right? Like, you need them to realize something about the situation, but you don't want to explicitly tell them. This is something you see a lot in puzzle games, for example, where you'll be presented a basic set of rules, and then the puzzle game will ask you to do something that seems impossible. And it's not telling you how to do it, it's not giving you any more information, you've just got to work with the existing rule set and start paring back assumptions you've made about how the puzzle works. Bubba Is You is fucking phenomenal at that. It presents incredibly simple scenarios, and then it changes one thing that makes it seem impossible, and then you have a brain blast and realize you had far more control over the puzzle and the mechanics of the game than you did before. I want to applaud this game for trying to do that, okay? I want to be very clear. Sadly, I was awful at Bubba Is You. I've still got to get to Bubba Is You at some point. It's been 4 years now. But, so, like, Sammy, you said earlier, it should have had something early on to teach you to think about the timeline in this way. I don't disagree, but I think the problem isn't that they didn't teach you could do this. I think the problem is they poorly set up the things you needed to realize you could do that. So there's a difference between, like, saying you can literally do this and just letting the player kind of sit there, think, and then realize that something is actually happening. You never tell them that you can actually move the characters around in scenes and that's affecting other people's stories. But you lay the groundwork, mechanically, for the person to make the realization later. And you can see hints of that because, yeah, it's about leading the player without them realizing they're being led. Exactly. Without explicitly telling them, or without actually giving them an obvious mechanic for it, right? Because, like, for example, what if for the first time ever, you could, like, there's another thing here that just says, and now they're here. And it's like, oh, okay, that's weird. But you could still go back and do this, right? So you go through Hitomi's help, you end up selecting a scenario, you get booted out. Okay, you know, you might go back in and see that you get booted out again. And it's like, okay, that's weird. So you end up going through the other stuff, and you end up at Fancy Sushi. You end up in Fancy Sushi, and the problem is that they've got no one to talk to, and no one is at the other residence, right? So, sorry, I'm game design on the fly. So you get here. There's another problem that I'll talk about in a second too, because I just realized it also ends up teaching you the opposite of this in the previous thing we did. Oh fuck, this is fascinating to break down. So you get to Fancy Sushi, and they're both like, yeah, we've got no one to really give us any information, and there's no one at the house. Shit. What do we do? And then you see the suspend, and you're like, wait, what? Like, am I supposed to do something? What could I possibly do to fix this? So you hit suspend, and you get moved out, and then you've got Fancy Sushi open, you've got Hitomi's help, and you've got something showing just, yeah, they're here now, in this timeline. So it's like, or at this point in time. So you're like, well, I can't do anything here because that's suspended. I can't do anything here because it just immediately boots me out. Like, I guess I can go back and do Hitomi's help, right? Yeah, you can. Well, you can go back and do the older ones, right? But you know, maybe it's, yeah. I can kind of see why they did what they did here, because, like, they don't want you thinking that you can go back to any of the previous ones and change things, and have that, you know, ripple out like that. But, so they did keep this open. But I would have said that, like, you know what? lead this into a scene where you just see them, right, so, like, the end of this is you select the location, and then it boots you out, and it puts you into here, where you see that cutscene where the camera just looks along and says, and so they started investigating, right? You put that here, and it's like, okay, so they're there. Okay, so this is a dead end because nothing here, and this is just done. This is still highlighted, though. I wonder why that is. You go back into here, and, you know, the story plays out the same way, completely linearly, and then it asks you to go to a location. So you're like, okay, well, what if I go to a different location? And then you get booted out, and you see that this has changed. And you're like, okay, why can I do this? The game is letting me do this, but I don't understand why. And then you end up having them in the same place, and that leads to the thing, right? But, like, first off, having this at a different time period already takes you back. Or, sorry, already puts you out of it. Why did something in the past... why would I think... Why would I make the connection between these two when they're in different points in time? Like, obviously, it's dumb to say, but, like, obviously doing something in the past means the future changes, but from the gameplay mechanical side of things, it feels like this is a requirement to get something in here, but it doesn't, like, show you what state is actually changing. And that is deliberate, because I feel like they've chosen to do that to, again, make it not clear that you actually have power over it, but I think that decision ends up making this really hard to tell what you're meant to do. And that's the trap. Because if you don't... Essentially, like, you need to set up, like, rather than, like... So, think... I'm going to use a 10-pin bowling analogy here. Rather than taking the ball from the player and rolling it down, you've got to set up the bumpers so that the ball will hit the pins, right? And the bumpers are going to be different mechanics that you lay out. So, you know, at one point you say... Or at one point you show them that you can move through the timelines and, you know, changing things, you know, obviously changes what happens within the scene. But the problem is that if you only rely on the bumpers, that doesn't guarantee you're going to get a strike, right? If you take the ball from the player and roll it down the middle so it strikes, of course they're going to get a strike, right? That's just, like, in this case, that'd be completely linear storytelling and literally telling the player what to do, like leading them by the hand. The risk with setting up the bumpers is that they're not going to guarantee you roll it down the center. They only guarantee that you're not going to roll into the gutters. And this is the trap they've fallen into, where I feel like they haven't set up the, I guess, like, gameplay pushback to make them think about what they're doing, if that makes sense. And the other thing is that the opposite of this happened here. Right? Because these guys turned up in Harue's story before we could choose anything, for one. What? Yeah, no, wait. Why didn't this work the same way? Think about it. In Fancy Sushi, we can have these two walk into this scene. This is on the same point in time, and this can be chosen, you know, the school or the residence. But they walked into the scene without the player doing anything here. They just walked into the scene. Because I was going to say, like, this entire sequence of events that ends up with them meeting up with them in Fancy Sushi, although that hasn't happened yet, so maybe that'll make more sense once I get past it. But now I'm just thinking, like, wait a minute. Why did these two walk into this scene without the player doing this bit? Oh my god! What, like... No, for real, why didn't that happen? That would have been such a cool moment of all of these three things lining up and they actually are impacting each other, right? So, like, let's say you get to here, and it just says, well, yeah, I guess, like, it does a similar thing to, this, where it's like, and Richter and Harue continued talking. And it just dropped out, and you're like, oh, okay. So you move on to this. It would have been interesting if they fixed it so you could change what happened by going back and making a different decision in a previous timeline moment. Though at that point, you're getting into timeline manipulation and have to be part of the story too. Yeah, that was the thing I was thinking of, and especially with the messaging here, I don't... Like, it looks like they're trying to avoid making you think that you could, say, go back here, for example, and change the entire story, right? Although, I wouldn't... Based on the meta aspects of the game, it's not, like, impossible that still wouldn't happen. And I do want to... Whatever point I'm making right now, I want to be very clear about something. I'm not saying game bad because of this, but what I am saying is that if this sequence of events is a mistake in terms of how badly it messages it, and isn't actually the point, this is bad. But I'm going to give the game the benefit of the doubt because, A, it has already been putting the meta stuff in to begin with. B, the fact that the meta stuff has come up before makes me think that, yeah, there's going to be more meta stuff in the future. Like, remember how many times I went through this and was like, why the fuck am I dying to... Well, yeah, like, both instances of Shogo fighting a fellow curse bearer required some meta knowledge. Like, you had to die to Harue to find out about the lighter, and then, you know, you had to die to Namigaki to learn about the voices, right? And and again, the game is not telling you, although the storyteller eventually did just say, wow, so come on, let's think about this. There are settings. The player's got to do something. Like, it very much has been the problem-solving aspects of this game are in the player's hands. They are not in the character's hands. But that means that you're relying on the player putting these pieces together, and I feel like the way these pieces were arranged would never have led me to having that make sense. Like, eventually I did figure it out, but, like, it was after the game was very bad at letting me look around. Like, because now I'm looking back on this and going, why would you let me look around if that wasn't the case? And the purpose of that is to set up what needs to happen in this chapter for you to progress. But yeah, because I feel like I've fallen through the cracks on this one. Or missed the bumpers, to lean on my previous analogy. I feel like I've fallen through the cracks in what this game expects you to put together. I need to have a rethink of this to, like, think about if this was put together well. Like, it's one of those things where, like, there's a difference between, like, is something put together well... Oh, no, sorry. Let me rephrase that. How do I want to say this? I think it can be misleading to look at a scenario like this and always just declare it's bad game design. Like, players and myself included, obviously, can just be silly and not realize what's going on until later. And then they see the non-communication of what's going on as bad game design, right? And it's hard to pair away sometimes the negative experience you might have with a game with the game just being bad, if that makes sense. But it could be, for example, that you weren't thinking about it. They actually hadn't accounted for a particular scenario. Yeah, there's a lot to it. Sorry, I want to wind back from just saying, like, bad, because I'm thinking more through it, and now the decisions do make sense, but, like, it's... I think the problem... If I had to criticize this moment for anything, I feel like it feels like the game broke a bit too much. Like, it feels like the game was just... Yeah, like, honestly, it felt like I had actually soft-locked the game. To some degree, right? Because it wasn't really making sense why I couldn't progress either of those scenarios, and it wasn't really communicating that maybe I hadn't set something up in those points. Again, I feel like if this just was here, or something was here indicating where they were, I feel like this would have been a lot easier to put together. But, like, yeah, so, like, if anything, I would say that, one, I feel like the non-communication makes sense. I feel like they could have done a better job of the non-communication by, like, refusing you the answer, but then just having, you know, Yako and Mio in a scene here showing where they were and changing the background in this moment to show that they were moving around and that you actually had control over that. So, yeah, on one hand, I feel like they didn't communicate it, or I feel like the very few indications that this is how this works weren't good. And the second is that the things that were there seemed read a bit too much to me, like the game was broken. I know that's a very strange, like, phrasing for that, but, like, yeah. There should have been more communication in a non-communicative scenario. I know that's kind of contradictory, but there should have been something. Like, it can't just actually be nothing. It should be something, right? An oddity, something that draws the player's eye, but doesn't actually get it. I think you get what you mean. I hope so. So yeah, okay. Let me make this succinct then. I think that they should have demonstrated this in some way. Yeah, finding the sweet spot of communication, exactly. Because the way that they chose... The things that they chose to leave... They chose to leave out things that I think would have helped communicate this and still achieve that goal. And the things that they did leave in don't feel like you should be able to do that, as opposed to the game is breaking. I think that makes sense. I'm really curious if people got stuck on this. Actually, you know what? Very curious. Paranormasight. Fancy... Stuck fancy sushi. Yeah, that auto-completed. Stuck on fancy sushi and Hitomi's help. Yeah, there seems to be a few people that are stuck. Huh. That's fascinating. I think I've talked myself out of being really upset with the way the game set this up. And in turn, I feel like I'm just disappointed that it was trying to do something really cool, but because it was trying not to tell the player what they needed to do, they took out one too many things, and the things that they did leave read completely differently, if that makes sense. Like, literally the only change I think I would actually make to this, to make this make a bit more sense, is that Hitomi's help should spawn on another chapter that just... It lands you in the position that you told Yako and Mio to be in, says they're investigating, and then you get booted out. Like, not a suspend, but they're just... Okay, cool. and it doesn't indicate to you that you finished the chapter if you put them in the right place. But by looking at these two scenarios and going, yeah, they need someone. Can't we just go find someone? And then you look back at Hitomi's help and that decision ends up moving them around. You go, oh, wait a minute. I can give them someone to talk to. The player actually has the control. Like, that would have been such a cool moment. And I feel like it just... Yeah, it just... Oh, man, that's such an unfortunate flub. Because that would have been an amazing moment. Oh, man, that's disappointing. Oh, man. Yeah. I will say, like, kind of like with the lighter situation, also the voices meter, I was expecting something like that to happen, but more grander in terms of the narrative, and it turns out it's here. But, like, man, it's really ballsy to do stuff like that, where it's on the like, the diegetic world is not telling the player what they need to do, and it is left entirely in their hands to figure it out. That's gonna miss some people, but for the people that they do actually get what they need to do, that must land really fucking hard. Like, that must be a amazing moment to experience. But I feel like just the way in which I actually experienced these three in particular painted a picture for me that made me think that wasn't possible. Because I don't think, sorry, I'm trying to pick my words here right. I feel like the game had demonstrated to me that these characters were acting on their own and I couldn't really have an impact on that, right? Because Tsutsumi and Eryo end up in this scene before I have put them there, right? Because, I'm pretty sure I did Life Can Be Tough before Fancy Sushi. Like, I finished up these two and then went, oh yeah, Haruwe chapter. Fuck yeah. Jumped into here, saw that they appeared in the cutscene, and went, okay, cool. I guess, like, what I'm guessing here is that they couldn't really think of a gameplay way to set up that they needed to be there, and that the ultimate conclusion of this scene is going to be that they end up there anyway. But that is an explicit contradictory case to what is happening in this interaction here. I am in Harue's story, and Tsutsumi and Eryo walk into the scene without me having done anything. But in this one, Yuko and Mio do not turn up in Fancy Sushi until you do that. Honestly, having these three moments be a blocker until you figure out what the fuck you're meant to do, I think would have been really cool. But given the fact that it established that the characters were moving around by themselves without the player's interference, I didn't think this was a thing. So, not only are you not communicating it as perfectly as you could in the subtlest ways possible, not only are the things that are left there making it seem more like the game is, like, broken or just, like, you're stuck in a loop or something, but there is also precedent in the game for this not being a thing. Oh, man. I think I literally just went through this in the worst way possible. Because if I was set on doing these things, right, like figuring out what was going on here, Well, no, because if I hit Fancy Sushi first, I feel like I would have ended up in Life Can Be Tough anyway. Because, you know, Hitomi's help ends and it doesn't seem to do anything. You get to Fancy Sushi and you're told to suspend. And then you get to Life Can Be Tough and you see them walk into the scene. But you haven't, or you haven't necessarily left them in there yet? Oh man, that's unfortunate. Yeah, I feel pretty confident in saying they fucked this up. Like, genuinely. Like, I feel like if they had a bit of extra communication, it would have actually worked fine and I wouldn't be thinking these things. But the fact that they were trying to do it in a subtle, hands-off way to begin with meant that other pieces in the puzzle were contradicting what they wanted the player to do. Wow. That's a new one. That's, that is... I gotta say, again, props to them for attempting this, because I don't think I've seen a visual novel or game do something like this before. Like, maybe in a more abstract sense, yes, because, like, in a game where there's, like, potentially lots of things happening. Actually, you know what? It reminds me a bit of how in Alpha Protocol, the order... Oh my god. Well, it's not as meta, but I feel like Alpha Protocol, of all games, actually managed this better, believe it or not. So for those who don't know, Alpha Protocol is a game that was made by Obsidian Entertainment. It's a third-person shooter RPG where you're a spy and you're trying to basically undo government conspiracy, PMC, blah, blah, blah. But the really fascinating thing about that game is that depending... so you have a whole bunch of missions you can do, and there are prerequisites to get through certain of them. And they're in 3 areas of the world. Depending on which area you go to first, the area that you go to second and third are affected by that choice. And moreover, in the third area, both choices actually matter. So certain characters are still alive if you go to certain areas first, as opposed to if you went to another one. Like, someone in Italy, for example, is alive if you go there first, but if you went to Russia first and then go to Italy, there's a chance that they are actually killed as a result of things that happened. And one of the things that ends up happening in that game is that there are a lot of interesting interactions with the characters that are interesting to the player because they have seen what happens if you do it in different orders. And this feels kind of like that, where, like, in Alpha Protocol, in certain missions, you could tell someone to go and do something, and then in a later part of the game, they will have done that, and that either helps or hinders you, depending on what it actually was. This feels a bit like that. You're essentially going into a part of the story and telling characters to do a certain thing, so that when you go over and do something else, that actually has had an impact. Obviously, you know, very different, mechanically served in very different ways. But, yeah. And yeah, I feel like this just did not communicate that in a good way. Damn. Well, last 30 minutes of this stream were basically me just, like, talking, which I guess was the whole visual novel anyway, but, like, yeah, we didn't play too much of the game in the last, like, since the last break, but, yeah, I think I'm gonna end it here. This feels like a good place to, like, sit down and let it simmer, because I don't often get the opportunity to, sit in this feeling. Thank you, Sammy, I appreciate that. I hope some of my ramblings are interesting sometimes. Sorry, I completely lost my train of thought. Yeah, it's probably a good thing I'm wrapping up the stream. Oh, yeah. I don't often get a moment to just take in a moment that is, like, perplexing to me. Usually my thing is, okay, I'm confused. Let me play more of the game and see if that undoes it. But I don't often put myself in a situation where I am perplexed. Well, I guess I have kind of solved it, but I haven't seen the rest of it and how it actually ties together to make the final judgment I otherwise would. And yeah, stewing on this for a little bit is probably going to be interesting. Huh. Yeah. But yeah, well, I'm definitely going to wrap it up here. No stream tomorrow, because I'm going to be out with family. And I doubt I'm going to fit something in the morning. Yeah, rest of the game will show if this was a stumble or a faceplant. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's one of these rare circumstances where I've had a bad experience with this particular plot point, but goddamn, I respect the hell out of it actually trying to do that. In my opinion, I think it did it poorly, at least at this point. But, like, yeah, it's one of those moments where I'm like, wow, this is a fascinating direction to go in. I'm really happy that they did it. God, I had a dog shit time with it, though. It's like, yeah. Fuck. Because, yeah, and to be fair, too, it was about time the game did something else meta. Because we've removed the threat of the curse bearers at the moment, or, like, for the time being, what is there to meta? You know, what does the player get to actually kind of, do here? And the answer is that they get to manipulate the timelines. It just wasn't very clear that they could do that. But yeah. No. It's a bit unfortunate. I hope the game can pick up from this, though, because, like, I can see the ambition and the vision. Like, I can see it. God damn, it's not... it's fumbling in a lot of key areas that would have really made it good, though. Yeah, we'll find out about that next weekend. Yeah, so like I was saying, no stream tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to be up early enough to do a stream before I have to go out anyway, because it... Well, no, I'd have to leave at, like, midday, which doesn't leave me much time if I need to also have a shower. And yeah, that's definitely not going to work. So yeah, absolutely no stream. I didn't schedule one, but, like, I just had a thought of, oh, maybe I could fit in a little bit of Paranormasight. No, it's not going to be worth it. During the week, I got back into Elden Ring last night, and I found my way to more places to explore, so I'm hoping that has lit the fire in me. I hope that continues to kindle throughout the week, because I would like to continue playing. But yeah, we're probably going to have raid Sunday night, so tomorrow night. Tuesday night as well. I don't know if I'll stream Monday, Wednesday, or Thursday. I'm probably just going to play it by ear, honestly. I don't think there's anything else really fancy going on. Oh, sorry, no. Thursday I'm definitely not streaming, so I should probably try Wednesday, I think. And then on the weekend, I do have something on, but I'm pretty sure none of them would interfere with the stream, so... well, none of them would be running during the time of the stream, so... We should have more Paranormasight next weekend, and we should be returning to Ace Attorney next weekend as well. I've had a little bit of a break from that, both me and Mina being busy, but... It happens. Yeah. We'll leave it there. Do we have anyone we can raid? Life. Yeah. Yeah. It's fun hanging out. I'm glad. Yeah, I hope people enjoyed my ramblings about game design and shit, because that is one of the most unique things I've ever seen a game try and do, in terms of, like, actually implying it's like a meta element that the player can interact with, and wow, did it seem to faceplant. But yeah, there isn't really anyone to raid, so we'll probably just leave it here then. Yeah, so thank you very much for watching live on the VODs. I really appreciate it. I hope you all have a lovely day, and I hope to see you all next time.